appreciate you very, very much. Again, thanks for being here, friends. You guys know the drill. There was a gifting goal today. You want to support the channel, you can do so through the various ways to do that, all at Factsstillmatter. Don't forget about joining our team. Please do your daily heart memes at the top. That's really, really important. Also, please consider joining our Discord. A lot of activity in our Discord over the last 24 hours. I'm sure you could imagine that. So obviously we have a lot to discuss today. But first, Renee Nicole Good, 37, lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota with her partner just blocks from where she was murdered. The woman shot and murdered by ICE agents in Minneapolis on Wednesday, January 7th, was identified by her mother as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. She passed away just a few blocks from where she lived. A woman who answered the door at Good's home declined to comment. Donna Ganger told the Minnesota Star Tribune that her daughter lived in the Twin Cities with her partner. Ganger said that the family was notified of the passing late Wednesday morning. It's so stupid that she was killed, Ganger said. After learning some of these circumstances from a reporter, she was probably terrified. Ganger said her daughter is, quote, not part of anything like that at all, referring to protesters challenging ICE agents. Renee was one of the kindest people I've ever known, she said. She was extremely compassionate. She's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. An Instagram account that appears to belong to Good describes her as, quote, a poet and a writer and a wife and a mom and a shitty guitar strummer from Colorado experiencing Minneapolis, Minnesota. Good had previously been married to Timmy Ray Macklin Jr., who passed away in 2023 at the age of 36. Macklin's father, Timmy Ray, so their 6-year-old son now no longer has a mother or a father. Macklin's father, Timmy Ray Macklin Sr., was shocked to hear the news that Good had been murdered by an ICE agent. He said Good and his son had a child who is now 6. Quote, there's nobody else in his life. I'll drive, I'll fly, I'll come to get my grandchild. Macklin added that Good had 2 additional children who he believed lived with her extended family. In 2020, while studying creative writing at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, Good was awarded the school's undergraduate poetry prize for On Learning to Dissect Fetal Pigs. A mini bio on the English department's Facebook page said Good, known as Renee Macklin then, was from Colorado Springs and hosted a podcast with her husband, Tim Macklin. When she is not writing, reading, or talking about writing, the post continued, she has movie marathons and makes messy art. Megan Coker posted on social media that I met Renee and her wife just a few weeks ago. She fed me tea and cookies at her house while we talked about school stuff. Coker described Good as such a warm and loving mother. This is tragic beyond words. She declined to comment further. Speakers at an evening vigil disclosed a few details of Good's life, but were resolute in honoring her as a good neighbor who was protecting others. Quote, she was peaceful. She did the right thing, said Jelani Hussein, the executive director of CAIR Minnesota. She described she died because she loved her neighbors. No, she died because of thugs. She was murdered by ICE agents. A speaker who only identified himself as Noah rejected Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's portrayal of Good as a domestic terrorist and instead said that Good was present on Portland Avenue on Wednesday to watch the terrorists themselves. As they walked around the block, hundreds of people chanted Good's name. Mary Radford, 27, was just getting home from work around 7 p.m. and struggled to find a place to park as hundreds of people descended on the neighborhood to mourn Good. Radford lived next to Good and saw her and her young son often when walking their Australian Shepherd, Hazelnut, who she said gets excited every time they walk by Good's house. Quote, it's a beautiful family. They have a son. He's very sweet. He loves our dog. He always has to go run up and pet and play with her, she said. They're always outside playing. The Goods moved in pretty recently, Radford said, but they had wonderful conversations. We're going to miss seeing them forever, she said. It is so painful to think about how he's going to fare in his life, and I just can't even imagine what that family is going through. Radford said through tears that Good was a good neighbor, though their time as neighbors was tragically brief. I wish I could have known her more. That's reporting from the Minnesota Star Tribune, Minneapolis newspaper. What I want to do today, with your permission, is I don't want to get into the legality, because that's what we're seeing now from the right. I will read to you the Department of Justice's rules of engagement. I will read to you ICE's rules of engagement and rules of use of force, there is no justification. And the most important thing to remind people of, the most important thing is that this would not have happened unless the Trump administration had deployed thugs to the streets of Minnesota. This comes on the heels of absolutely atrocious and despicable lies told about the Somali community. Absolutely horrible rhetoric targeting marginalized communities across the country. It's just one thing after another. And what we will see today, and what we've already seen, because I'm going to play you how various news agencies are covering this. I'm going to read you the statement from the President of the United States and how despicable it is. And Mag, if you're in the chat, I want you to look at her face. I want you to look at her face. This woman, this mother, this U.S. citizen, this person right here, is gunned down in cold blood by an authoritarian thug who had no business being there in the first place. As a reminder, ICE does not have law enforcement responsibilities unless it's connected to immigration enforcement. Here's how it's broken down. ICE was established in 2003 as part of the DHS and has a dual mandate to enforce civil immigration laws and to investigate transnational components. 1, Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. This is the criminal investigative arm of ICE, focusing on a wide range of crimes, including human trafficking, narcotics smuggling, and financial crimes. HSI agents are federal law enforcement officers with the authority to conduct investigations and make arrests related to these crimes. Again, these crimes: trafficking, narcotics smuggling, and financial crimes. Number 2, Enforcement and Removal Operations, or ERO. This component is responsible for civil immigration enforcement, including the identification, arrest, and removal of non-citizens who violate U.S. immigration laws. ERO focuses on individuals deemed threats to national security or public safety. Again, immigration enforcement, civil immigration enforcement. They don't have traditional law enforcement. They just don't. They just don't have traditional law enforcement privileges, so to speak. They don't. ICE agents are sworn law enforcement officers, meaning that they have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and enforce federal laws. They are authorized to carry firearms, make arrests, and conduct searches and seizures related to immigration and customs enforcement. However, their authority is specific to federal laws, distinguishing them from traditional police officers who enforce state and local laws. In conclusion, ICE is indeed classified as a law enforcement agency with specific responsibilities and authority related to immigration and customs enforcement. Its dual role in both civil and criminal law enforcement contributes to its significant presence and impact within the broader law enforcement landscape in the United States. They don't have... Check Discord. I'm on it. Shifty Lincoln, thank you. Thank you, Steve, for your using your voice. This is a super chat on YouTube. Thank you, Steve, for using your voice. I'm in Minnesota and I'm enraged. This regime is edging the Holocaust. This is not hyperbole. Mods, I'll leave it up to you guys as far as comments go. I trust you all immensely, as you know. My point in this is that these are not law enforcement officers. These are thugs. These are the modern day Gestapo. They are roaming the streets of American cities, and they are using, under the guise of protecting communities. This would not have happened. This would not, I just saw something in the comment. Yes, I understand they are considered law enforcement. Their law enforcement responsibilities end at immigration, narco trafficking, et cetera, et cetera. They are not there to investigate United States citizens unless they can make claims of immigration violations and or narco trafficking, et cetera. They're not police officers. They're not police officers. And I will remind people once again, this would not have happened no matter how hard they attempt to spin it, no matter what they do, no matter how many lies they will tell. And there is a fucking shit ton. They would not have been there. This would not have happened. Nicole Good would be home with her son right now, walking their dog, if this had not happened. There's absolutely no reason. It is unjustified. So we're going to get into some of the timeline. I'm not going to play the video. I think most of you have seen it by now, but there are some moments that I feel like it's necessary to capture so that we can have this conversation in earnest. First, I want to read you a couple of things that, first of all, someone in our chat posted this amazing breakdown, and I will give them credit when the time comes. I'm going to read that to you. But I first want to focus on the Department of Justice's use of deadly force. We're also going to read ICE's use of deadly force. It's very, very clear that it was violated. So this is under the DOJ's in general, under law enforcement, okay, in general, because we know that the Department of Justice has been there as well. So in general, it's 1-16.200. It's use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. A, deadly force. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. That is, when the officer has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. Okay. 1. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. That is standard operating policy. Last night, who used to be in law enforcement, because I had that question, and I asked him, I said, is it justified if somebody is fleeing? He's like, absolutely not. We're trained, we're trained that first day. Absolutely not. So if their argument is, obviously the vehicle was attempting to leave, we've all seen it. The vehicle was attempting to leave. So as far as I'm concerned, the entire debate about justified use is gone with that statement right there. Number 2, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless 1, a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. That's the second reason why this was not justified. The vehicle is not considered deadly force under this deadly force by means other than the vehicle. There needs to be something either in the passenger's possession or in the driver's possession that the officer would deem a threat. Doesn't apply here. Number 2, the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. Firearms may not be discharged from a moving vehicle except in exigent circumstances. In these situations, an officer must have an articulable reason for use of this deadly force. Number 3, if feasible, and if to do so would not increase the danger to the officer or others, a verbal warning to submit to the authority of the officer shall be given prior to the use of deadly force. Number 4, warning shots are not permitted outside of the prison context. Number 5, officers will be trained in an alternative method and tactics for handling resisting subjects, which must be used when the use of deadly force is not authorized by this policy. Number 6, deadly force should not be used against persons whose actions are a threat solely to themselves or property unless an individual poses an imminent danger or death or serious physical injury to the officer or others in close proximity. None of that exists. None of it. There's a little bit more because this is from ICE. And I found this as well. Let me see if I can just find it. I want to make sure I get the language exactly right. They look at ICE LEOs. They call them LEOs, so law enforcement officers. And this is the language from their own use of safe tactics. It says, DHS LEOs should seek to employ tactics and techniques that effectively bring an incident under control while promoting the safety of law enforcement officers and the public, and that minimize the risk of unintended injury or serious property damage. DHS law enforcement officers should also avoid intentionally and unreasonably placing themselves in a position in which they have no alternative to using deadly force. So, based on what we know from the Department of Justice's own policies, based on what we know from the internal documents at DHS, it was not justified. Not in any way. So I want to give credit to, I'm going to use this because I think it's the appropriate. I want to read something that was posted because I like this breakdown, and we'll go through it. I want to credit D, who's in our Discord. I don't know if you are on TikTok, D. If you're here watching us today, I want to thank you. So I'm going to try to go through this as how they wrote it because I think it's relevant here, and then we're going to get into the sound and the contradictions. So D is I'll read it from his perspective. As a 20-year, or her perspective, their perspective, as a 20-year veteran and current service member with my job as military police, we do have training. I know because I teach and train my troops and civilian contractors on what this would be conducted as a high-risk traffic stop. A routine stop would be considered a normal stop, and making contact with the driver without any types of aggression, escalation, and the driver would show normal compliance on the use of force continuum. Speaking of use of force, there are three things that need to be met for the threshold of use of deadly force: officer perception, subject action, and officer response. These three things combined created the term objective reasonableness. The Supreme Court in Graham v. Connor established that reasonableness of a particular use of force must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer. To have happened is to have our live brought down today. You all know that we've seen this scene here where, first of all, and I'm going to play some of Kristi Noem's sound. We know that this is the silver truck pickup that approached the SUV, the Honda Pilot, of which Ms. Good was the driver. So we know that. One of the claims that Kristi Noem has made is that it was stuck in the snow and that it was adverse weather conditions in Minneapolis. Well, anybody who lives in Minneapolis, when you see a day like this in January, you are dancing in the streets because of how beautiful it is. So that's the first point. So fact number one, the video shows a maroon SUV and a silver vehicle blocking an intersection and blocking a silver unmarked ICE vehicle, which is this one. Agents approach, as we see in the video, agents leave their vehicle, right? And I'll get to that one in just a second. And they approach the car. We've seen that. The first ICE agent is, shouting commands, get the fuck out of the car, get the fuck out of the car. Again, remember the rules of engagement for ICE, their jobs are immigration. Their job is not state by state, street by street, town by town law enforcement, okay? ICE agents approach maroon vehicle already escalating by screaming at the driver. ICE agent number one makes contact on the driver's side door and attempting to open it and again gain compliance. ICE agent number two positions himself near the front of the vehicle, but not directly in front. We know that from this picture. If you look at the feet, so there are two agents here, this one and then the person who pulled the trigger. You can see by their feet, they're on the side of the vehicle. That is a shot. You can see that, okay? And I'm going to get more into this in just a moment. Mods, please remove Mr. Nice Guy immediately. Thank you. I'm not going to listen to his bullshit today. It's no way. Again, two agents right here. This was the first one that approached the car from the silver truck, attempting to gain access to the vehicle. The second agent came around from this side, again, violating ICE's own rules by not putting yourself in harm's way. He walked in front of a vehicle that was obviously in operation. We've seen the video. This person, the driver, Ms. Good, backed up, right? And I'll read more of that in a second. So here's the frame. So there are 4 feet. These 2 feet belong to this officer here, and these 2 feet belong to the person who pulled the trigger, allegedly. Okay? ICE agents, again, approach the marine vehicle, already escalating by screaming at the driver. ICE agent number one makes contact on the driver's side door, attempting to open it and gain compliance. ICE agent number two positions himself near the front of the vehicle, but not directly in front. The driver then attempts to escape due to the situation. The driver reverses, we've seen that, to get a better angle in an attempt to not hit ICE agent number two. Then driver then puts the vehicle in and turns right. And again, if you look at the images, you can see this. So where's that one picture? You can see the angle. So here's the vehicle, right? This is little forensic stuff. You can see the front tire turning to the right, okay? You can see the front tire turning to the right. That is obviously an attempt to move away. This officer, the one allegedly who pulled the trigger, was already reaching for his firearm when he walked around the front of the vehicle, which again is in violation of Department of Justice rules, law enforcement rules, ICE rules, etc. You can see the vehicle is turning away. See, after the driver starts to accelerate and make the right turn, again, avoiding to hit number two attempts to step in front of vehicle. The vehicle never makes contact with number two. Number two fires 3 rounds into the vehicle. This would be the first. If you go back and look at that angle, right, you can see that he's in the front of the vehicle. This would be the first. That's the first round fired into the vehicle. Look at the angle. We all know our windshields in our car, right? You've got the little curve right at the end. You can see the angle. Obviously, they were on this side of the vehicle, not in front. Fires 3 rounds. The point at when number two draws his firearm, legs were directly out of the way of the moving vehicle. Again, seen in this photo right here. Fired the first round into the side of the windshield. Vehicle he's out of the way, not in front of the vehicle. You can see that right there, right? The point when number two draws his firearm, his legs were directly out of the way and moving in the vehicle, as seen in the photo with the red circle, which is this photo. Vehicle speeds away and crashes on opposite side of the street into a parked vehicle. Number one and number two, both of these two, and other agents pursued on foot. The administration and Trump say that number two was struck by the vehicle and was in the hospital. Number two pursued the vehicle and was walking just fine shortly after. He was eventually rushed away from the scene under the guise that he was injured. He walked to the vehicle and then walked back from the vehicle, got into a different vehicle, and drove away. He was eventually rushed away from the scene under the guise that he was injured. According to the legal concept Barnes v. Felix in 2025, this is the most critical recent code development. In May of last year, the Supreme Court ruled in Barnes v. Felix that the courts must look at, quote, the totality of circumstances leading up to a shooting. The rule, if an officer recklessly steps in front of a vehicle, creating the danger themselves, a court can now rule their subsequent use of force was unreasonable because they, quote, precipitated the threat. This case effectively ends the moment of threat defense where officers used to argue. It doesn't matter how I got in front of the car. I shot because it was about to hit me. Now the law says if you put yourself there unnecessarily, you are liable. So once again, let's go through those images again. We've got the vehicle after the shots are fired. We've got the window. Hold on. First shot, we see the agents engaged, tires turned to the right. We see the vehicle, the officer shooting into the window. He's in no threat. The car is driving away. First shot into the windshield, the second two through the window. Okay. So that's the video evidence. Now, the argument, and again, I've doing my best to try to take you guys through this. Everybody keep tapping, please, and please consider helping us out by helping us hit our gift goal and staying engaged today. So that's the first part. Now I'm gonna play for you. Now that you've seen that, right? Now most of you have seen the video. We've watched it with our own eyes. I'm gonna start with Kristi Noem's statement. This is the one, I did a video on this yesterday. This is something that should make every single person that is willing to listen so fucking angry, because this is what she had to say.
Questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather.
Did you see any vehicles that were stuck in the snow? Was there adverse weather conditions? They want to label this woman a domestic terrorist? Okay.
That is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them.
A woman attacked them? Did anyone see any of those pictures or the video that you've seen? Was she attacking them?
And those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her.
Did she? Did she try to run them over and ram them? No.
Vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him.
Protect himself and the people around him? No, he did not. We've already gone through that. He intentionally put himself, first of all, according to you, he was trained properly. He walked in front of the vehicle. He wasn't supposed to do that. He was not in harm's way. You saw the wheels turn. She made an attempt to not hit him. He was on the side of the vehicle, not in danger. He used his firearm and shot through the windshield and then through the open window.
And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day.
Right.
These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such.
Really?
We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well. You've seen me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the...
Yeah, we know you have. I don't want to say the word. See you next Tuesday. We know that you've deployed 2,000 ICE officers. We know that. That's exactly the fucking point. That's exactly the fucking point. This woman would be alive today, you fucking monster. This woman would be alive today if you had not deployed 2,000 ICE agents to the streets of Minneapolis because of lies. Because of lies that were told about the Somali community. Because of lies that were told about fraud. Targeting the Somali community. Citizens in most cases. Targeting them. Because you've lied the entire time. You have lied the entire fucking time about all of it.
The Minneapolis area. And in the last 2 days, we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets.
You see, there's the spin. There's the justification. Oh, we're here. Well, this was just happenstance. Okay.
And enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking.
You mean like what you just did? Okay.
And drug exploitation and child exploitation. So we're going to continue to do our work. And I want to remind everybody that the act like we saw today of using a vehicle to try to kill an officer and his colleagues and the other people around him is something that every politician, every elected official, everyone in this country should be able to rally around and say that it is wrong. And that sanctuary cities and...
Are you looking for defense? Really? Are you looking for defense? I'm going to get into more. I'm going to take a little break. I decided, I wrote a script last night and it's in our Discord under the do something section of our Discord. I know a lot of people may have never contacted their federal representatives, either they're members of Congress or members of the Senate. But so I wrote a script for you. There's a couple versions actually. First of all, you call 20 in this, again, this is in our Discord. There's two versions. Call 202-224-3121. That is the congressional switchboard. Ask for your representative or your senator. This is what I was thinking. Hello, my name is, that your name. I'm a constituent and a U.S. citizen calling to express deep concern about a serious incident reported in Minneapolis on January the 7th, 2025, involving the death of Renee Nicole Good and the alleged involvement of an ICE agent. I want to be clear. After reviewing the disturbing video of the incident, I am calling because any allegation of lethal force by a federal law enforcement officer demands immediate, independent oversight. This case raises urgent questions about the conduct and accountability of federal agents, whether body camera footage, reports, and chain of command actions are being preserved, and whether the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are being independently investigated, not policing themselves. I am asking whomever your rep is or your senator to do three things. One, publicly call for an independent investigation into the incident. Two, demand transparency from DHS and ICE, including release of all relevant records. And three, support congressional oversight or hearings if warranted by the facts. No federal agency should be above scrutiny, especially when a civilian has lost their life. Please let said representative know that I expect accountability, transparency, and respect for due process for the victim, the family, and for the public. Thank you for your time, and then restate your name. That script is in our Discord. There is there's also a A shorter version, for example, let me see if I can find that one real quick. The shorter version is, hang on one second. I'm calling about the January 7th, 2025 Minneapolis incident involving the death of Renee Nicole Good and an alleged ICE agent. I'm asking the member to support independent investigation, transparency, and congressional oversight. Must not investigate themselves in cases involving civilian deaths. Both those versions are in our Discord. Please consider joining. They are in the Do Something section of our Discord. Okay. I need to read the president's statement because they are in full spin mode. There's a few things that I'm going to read from the president this morning because he's all over the map. The first was just posted 49 minutes ago. Again, focusing on Somali fraud. And his statement is, arrest them all. They are all criminals. And then I'm going to play some sound from Fox. We're going to hear sounds from Fox News and their panel of experts. We're going to hear from Jesse Waters. We're going to hear from Will Cain a little bit later on. We're going to hear from Lawrence O'Donnell. And I'm going to show you how we've got this absolute clear divide in our media ecosystem. It is unbelievable where they are going in an attempt to defend this. They couldn't just for once to say that officer is being dismissed. They violated the law, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But nope, they couldn't do that. The president couldn't take himself, could not address the tragedy. Instead, he said this.
I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing, and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the clip, it is hard to believe that he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate.
So the agent that the president said it's hard to believe he's alive after the incident walked to the vehicle. Okay. Again, just want to make sure that we're clear on this. This is said agent after he pulled the trigger. He walked to the vehicle, turned around, walked back with his mask on, of course, got himself into a car and drove away. So are we supposed to believe that his injuries just popped up overnight? Really? Okay. That's the statement from the president. So now I'm gonna play you. Here's the spin. All right. This is the first piece of sound that I'm gonna play. This is from Fox, of course, was jumping on this last night because that's what they do.
DHS Secretary Chad Wolf, former FBI agent, Fox News contributor Nicole Parker, Fox News contributor Paul Morrow. Nicole, start with you. What I see is very clear. I see somebody not listening to law enforcement, backing up, accelerating right into an ICE agent. What do you see?
What I see is a vehicle being used as a deadly force weapon. And that, in my opinion, based on my training...
Once again, that's in violation of the fucking training. You made that assumption. That is not the law. Good try, though.
Deadly force is justified. Let me make something very clear. No law enforcement officer, and particularly federal agent, wants to have to deploy and utilize their firearm in the line of duty. When you are doing that, you know that you have no other choice and that you are literally defending your life or the life of others. And it's very important for the viewers to understand that, for instance, the DOJ deadly force policy says that you believe that your life or a life of another person, the subject is posing an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to yourself, to another officer, or to others. And again, the deadly force policy is very particular. We are trained on it like, oh.
She is literally lying. I just read to you what the use of force policy is. That's why I read it first. She is literally just fucking lying. Plain and simple. Hold on. Hang on one second. Video reset. Everybody keep tapping, please. Want to support the channel? You can do so through the various things. They're all at Factsstillmatter. I appreciate you all.
Accelerating right into an ICE agent. What do you
officer, and particularly federal agent, wants to have to deploy and utilize their firearm in the line of duty. When you are doing that, you know that you have no other choice and that you are literally defending your life or the life of others. And it's very important for the viewers to understand that, for instance, the DOJ deadly force policy says that you believe that your life or a life of another person, the subject is posing an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to yourself, to another officer, or to others. And again, the deadly force policy is very particular. We are trained on it like.
Again, this is the DOJ. This is the DOJ's use of force policy. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. She is fucking lying through her teeth. She is citing DOJ policy. I am reading you the DOJ policy. Again, for MAGA in the back, she is citing the DOJ policy. I am reading you the DOJ policy. Which would you rather believe? You can go to 1-16.200 on the justice.gov website. You can look it up yourself. Again, let's go back to the sound just so we're clear so I can dunk on her.
Like over and over.
Here you go.
That your life or a life of another person, the DOJ deadly force policy says that you believe that your life or a life of another person, the subject is posing an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to yourself, to another officer, or to others. And again, the deadly force policy is very particular. We are trained on it like over and over and over, Sean. That's one of the things that's emblazoned in my mind.
So again, she's fucking lying to you. She's lying to you. She told you that the part that she tried to explain to you, hoping that you'll believe it, what the DOJ deadly force policy is. I will read it again. Law enforcement, again, 1-16.200. Use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. That is, when the officer has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force imposes an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. Those are the facts. She is citing the DOJ's use of force, and she's fucking lying. She is lying about it. She's fucking lying to you. Flat out. As is the president. They are fucking lying to you. There is no debate. You cannot be citing the DOJ policy, and you're doing that because you think the viewers, the bloodthirsty fucks that they are, cheering this shit on, you think they won't do the research. Well, we will. We will. Jesse Waters, of course, had to chime in because of who the fuck he is. I've got that sound too. This is Jesse Waters' breakdown. Here you go. Hold on.
Life was a self-proclaimed.
Was the target?
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly she was very yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding.
With pronouns in her bio.
Wait a minute.
A 30.
Definitely, yeah. That was her goal.
The woman who lost her life was a self-proclaimed poet from Colorado with pronouns in her bio.
Oh.
A 37-year-old.
With pronouns in her bio. You want to just slip that in there, right? Let's just slip that in there. Pronouns in her bio. Okay.
The male says she leaves behind
Her goal.
The woman who lost her life was a self-proclaimed poet from Colorado with pronouns in her bio. A 37-year-old white woman named Renee Good. The Daily Mail says she leaves behind a lesbian partner.
Oh, got to throw that in there too. Leaves behind a lesbian partner.
Previous marriage. She was a disruptor, though she considered herself a legal observer. But there's no evidence she had a law degree. Different angles show different things.
So there you go. Pronouns in her bio and left behind a lesbian partner. Why would that be necessary, Jesse? Why would it be necessary, you fuck? Why would that be necessary, you piece of fucking shit, to throw that in there? Why would it be necessary to talk about her pronouns? Why would it be necessary to highlight the fact that she's a lesbian woman? Why would that be necessary? I think I know. It's because you know your base will salivate over that. One less gay person in the world, one less queer person, one less lesbian celebrating it. Now, I want to be very clear about something. It is not lost on me that marginalized communities in our country face this shit every fucking day. It is nothing new to anybody in a black or brown community. It is nothing new to the violence at the hands of law enforcement. It is nothing new to any of them. And I am sensitive to that. And I am not, and we're talking about this in terms of today, I'm not dismissing that. I'm not ignoring that. I understand fully that it happens every fucking day in marginalized communities. And this is an example of what people who lie for a living, malignant narcissists in charge of our government, Christian nationalists, white supremacists, racists, and bigots who certainly want the complexion of our country to change. No doubt about it. Again, it is not lost on me that this doesn't happen in communities across the country every fucking day. Every day. Everybody cool? We all understand that, right? This event would not have happened if our federal government, Donald Trump and his pathetic fucking thugs would not have deployed ICE to Minneapolis. Period. Would not have happened. Here's more of, do I even want to play? Yeah, I guess we'll play a little bit more of Jesse Waters, whatever.
Used deadly force. And this specific officer had been dragged by a car driven by a protester earlier this year in Minneapolis.
Why the fuck was he back there then? Why was he back there then? I don't even want to play anymore from Jesse Waters. He's just a fucking, that's what you're getting on Fox though. So you get one person that says, well, here you go. Here you go. This is the DOJ policy. Nope. You're wrong about that. That is not the DOJ policy because I just read the DOJ policy. Do you have like a special secret DOJ policy? Is there one that none of us have access to? Is there one that says, yeah, well, this is the real policy. We just make shit up. We go on Fox and we talk about it. real quick, before we get back into these, back into the specifics of what happened, I just want to read you some other examples of what ICE has done this year, so we don't forget. In this year, ICE has recorded 32 deaths in its detention centers, the highest number in over 2 decades. Advocates and families have called out medical neglect, poor conditions, and lack of accountability as contributing factors. Many detained individuals had no criminal convictions and were held in overcrowded facilities. Human Rights Watch reported that violent ICE raids in Los Angeles during the summer of 2025 spread fear in immigrant communities with aggressive tactics, family separation, and little transparency. Civil rights group called for the closure of a large Texas ICE detention camp where detainees reported beatings and sexual abuse by officers. In Louisiana, local reports documented sexual harassment, physical abuse, coerced labor, and neglect of medical needs at an ICE facility there. Interviews with more than 45 people detained at Fort Bliss described physical violence, excessive force, and SA, including accounts of detainees being beaten, slammed to the ground, and seriously injured. A recent ACLU-backed report on another facility detailed physical abuse, medical neglect, and intimidation in ICE detention centers, including sexual violence and pressure to self-deport. Advocates reported that harsher enforcements made it harder for immigrants experiencing domestic violence to seek help because fear of ICE led some to stay in abusive relationships rather than risk detention or deportation. In Ohio, at least one ICE officer was convicted of abusing women, and another was arrested on abuse charges, prompting criticism that the agency fails to police and discipline its own ranks. Yeah. Fort Bliss, Texas. Interviews with 45 detainees revealed widespread abuse and neglect. A teen detainee was beaten so severely he needed hospitalization. Guards reportedly crushed his testicles and forced fingers into his ears. Multiple detainees reported physical violence and SA by officers. Detainees said officers used abusive intimidation to try to force self-deportation. One detainee, Francisco Gaspar Andres, lost his life due to liver and kidney failure after not receiving timely care at the Fort Bliss facility on December 3rd of 2025. Detainees described being roused at night and restrained head to toe with shackles, then told that they were being deported to countries they were not from. Reports raised concerns over inhumane use of full body restraints during deportation procedures. Facility conditions and abuse allegations across multiple sites. In Florida, reports from human rights watchdogs documented harrowing intake processes, overcrowded and unsanitary conditions, denial of basic hygiene, limited access to legal counsel, and inadequate medical care at facilities such as Chrome, Everglades, which was known as Alligator Alcatraz. In Broadview, Illinois, a federal lawsuit alleges ICE denied detainees access to attorneys, adequate food, beds, and showers. Evidence presented by a federal judge as potentially justifying restraints on the facility. Investigative coverage linked several tragic outcomes to systemic neglect. A detainee in Georgia died while awaiting surgery. Others faced delay or denied care. Reports include of rising self-unaliving attempts among those held, linked to lack of mental health support and abuse. A Senate-produced oversight summary documented hundreds of credible reports of human rights violations across immigration detentions in 2025, including 41 credible reports of physical and sexual abuse of individuals in detention, 14 reports of mistreatment and abuse of pregnant women, and 18 reports of mistreatment of children in ICE, HHS, or BOP custody. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, September 12th of this past year, a 38-year-old man was fatally shot by an ICE officer during a traffic stop in the Chicago suburbs while attempting to flee. Once again, we know the rules of engagement. You can't shoot at a fleeing vehicle. Again, it's in the DHS handbook and it's in the DOJ handbook. Camarillo, California raid, July 10th. During a large ICE-led farm raid, a farm worker, Jaime Alanis Garcia, lost his life from a 30-foot fall while fleeing agents. These deaths sparked scrutiny over the use of force and tactics during immigration and enforcement raids. I want to talk a little bit about the qualifications that's required to become an ICE agent. Basic eligibility. You have to be a U.S. citizen. This is for both HSI and Homeland Security officers and immigration officers as well. U.S. citizen, valid driver's license, typically age 21 to 36, pass a background investigation, pass drug screening, medical and physical fitness standards, and psychological evaluation. You must have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution or relevant law enforcement, military, investigative, or intelligence experience. Combination of education plus experience is often accepted. Now we know that their recruitment has been down, which is where they offered $50,000 sign-on bonuses, repayment of student loan debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What does an HSI special agent, a criminal investigator, do? They investigate human trafficking. These are ICE agents. Okay, keep in mind this is what their jobs are. They investigate human trafficking, financial crimes, cybercrime, weapons trafficking, and child exploitation. That's it. Those are all in addition to money laundering and then transnational crime. Additional requirements: a competitive hiring process, strong writing and analytical skills, often requires foreign language ability, preferred but not required, accounting, cyber, or intelligence experience, must qualify with a firearm. Training: criminal investigator training, HSI special agent training course, and then conducted at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. What does an ERO officer do? Again, these are the two categories. These are the two categories of ICE agents. What do? They arrest and detain non-citizens. They transport detainees. They execute removal orders, and they conduct compliance checks. Did anything that you've seen so far that we've discussed today in regard to the death, the bold-faced fucking murder of Renee Good, any of those fall into those categories? The answer is no. None of them do. Again, these are the requirements from ICE. Additional requirements: emphasis on physical readiness, prior law enforcement or military service is common, and then firearms qualification is required. Training: ICE deportation officer training program, also included in the federal law enforcement training program. Skills ICE looks for: decision-making under stress. How would one measure that? First of all, decision-making under stress. Interesting. Decision-making under stress. Decision-making under stress. Okay. Just to be sure, I wanted to make sure I understood what that meant, and obviously he didn't do very well in that one. Report writing and documentation, ability to work irregular hours, physical stamina, cultural awareness, language skills are a plus. And then willingness to carry a firearm and make arrests. Okay. Hiring timeline can take 6 to 18 months. We know that there's been an increase in hiring ICE officers. How long was that person on the job? Hiring timeline, 6 to 18 months, includes the application process, structured interviews, polygraph, background investigation, medical and fitness testing. ICE agents are federal law enforcement officers with arrest authority. All agents must follow federal use of force policies, and misconduct can lead to criminal charges, termination, or federal prosecution. ICE policy says its authorized officers may only use force that is objectively reasonable and necessary to carry out their duties, and that excessive force is prohibited. Again, this is from ICE's own handbook. I'll say it again. ICE policy says its authorized officers may only use force that is objectively reasonable and necessary to carry out their duties, and that excessive force is prohibited. The handbook frames decisions around the totality of facts and circumstances, what the officer knew in the moment, subject behavior, risks to others, and to the surrounding environment. ICE policies requires that when feasible, officers should use tactics to de-escalate, stabilize, slow, reduce the intensity of the situation, and attempt presence, verbal commands when delay won't create greater danger. Force continuum and proportionality. ICE describes a use of force continuum, starting with officer presence, verbal commands, and escalating as needed. Officers may have to increase or decrease force quickly depending on what changes in the situation. Intermediate force. Force not likely intended to cause death or serious bodily injury must still be objectively reasonable and necessary, typically when empty hand techniques aren't sufficient, but deadly force isn't justified. Deadly force. ICE states, DHS department-wide policy governs deadly force. ICE officers may use deadly force only within a reasonable belief of imminent danger of death, serious bodily injury to the officer or to another person. ICE policy also states deadly force that is not authorized solely to prevent escape of a fleeing suspect. ICE, again, for those of you in the back, ICE policy states deadly force is not authorized solely to prevent escape of a fleeing suspect. Again, here's the image. The officer is out of the way. That vehicle is fleeing. ICE policy states deadly force is not authorized solely to prevent escape of a fleeing suspect. What the fuck would you call that? Thank you. What would you call that? She wasn't even, you're right, she wasn't even a suspect. They approached her car. They created this. They created it. Again, that's the truck. That's the officer. The car is clearly past him. He is shooting into an open window. Deadly force. ICE policy states deadly force is not authorized solely to prevent escape of a fleeing suspect. That image right there will be played in court. This vehicle was fleeing. It's right there. He is not in threat. He's not under threat. He's away from the front of the vehicle. Those are his feet right there. Where's the other one? This is the officer. This is the murderer right here. Does he look like he's in danger? Does he look like that he was injured? What did the president say? Hang on. Based on the attached clip, based on the video that the president watched, this one, it is hard to believe he's alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. He walked to the vehicle after he shot her 3 times. He walked back, got into a car, and drove away. Okay. Okay. Good to know that the president is so concerned about his safety. Not once mentioning her. Not once mentioning the amazing human being who was gunned down in cold blood by a thug. Not fucking once. In addition, I think I've got this sound too. Hang on one second. In addition, there was a doctor on scene. Doctor trying to help.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor! You caught your butter in the face! You killed my neighbor! How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors, you're stealing my neighbors, what the man?
There's a physician. There was a physician there. A doctor that wanted to go check a pulse. No, we've got our own medics. They weren't there. because you saw video footage later that was just more ICE officers who took her body out of the car. There is absolutely no justification for what happened. There is none. There is absolutely no justification. Not just from the obvious moral fucking side, but based on the DOJ and the Department of Homeland Security's own policy. That's why I spent so much time reading through them last night. Because I wanted to make sure, because that's what we're going to hear today, that it was justified. No, wasn't justified. Even under your own fucking rules, you pathetic fucks. Was everything else justified? Was the abuse of teenagers and pregnant women in ICE detention centers, was that justified too? I don't see that in the handbook. Page 3, category 4. Oh, it says right here, I can abuse pregnant women if I don't like the way they look. Look at her face, MAGA. Look at her face. Look at her face. Mom, 37-year-old, had stuffed animals and sports stickers on the back of her car. That the kind of person that we should be rounding up? Renee Nicole Good, 37 years old, gunned down in cold blood by murderous thugs. Under what? Under what auspice? That it was justified? I know there's reporting, and I'm going to ask for your grace today, guys, about, as you guys know, when we talk about controversial topics, we only like to report on what it is that we know. So unless we can confirm something, I would just ask that if you want to come up and talk, that's fine. But unless we can confirm something, I would ask that you not share it here. If you want to throw it by one of our mods and we can investigate that, because the last thing I want to do is spread any more misinformation. Please respect that. I know you always do. Once again, the DOJ's rules are regarding, I'm going to say this one more time, and then we'll move on to other points. The DOJ's rules, they pretty much match ICE's rules. Deadly force. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the Department of Justice may use deadly force only when necessary. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. What else is there to say? I don't know. All right, I'm going to give, we're going to listen to Lawrence O'Donnell now, and then we're going to get more back into the spin that we're seeing and how the Minneapolis mayor and Tim Walz have responded. So buckle up. We have a lot to cover today. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. 2,200 people in here. If we can, maybe the day's the day. See if we can get as many likes as possible. You want to support the channel? Don't forget there's a gifting goal today, and we are crowdfunded. Thank you, friends.
First, they lie. I say this from long, weary experience with the subject. After most unjustifiable shootings by law enforcement officers, first they lie. Today's news has sent me back to the place I really do hate to go, the subject that began my journalism career, police use of deadly force. The first article ever published in the New York Times about the
I'm going to pause real quickly. I just want to reiterate, this is a normal day in the life for marginalized communities in our country. Black and brown people are like, yeah, tell me something new. I just want to make sure that we all acknowledge that this is just a normal day in America, in the white supremacy nation that we're in. It's a normal day for marginalized communities. I don't want people to ever forget that. I know you wouldn't, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, you know.
Problems associated with police use of deadly force was the first article I ever wrote. That was in 19 1979. I've been with that subject ever since. In that article, I made the point, as I have made ever since, that most shootings by police are justified. Most shootings by police are legitimately done in defense of life, most of them. But the worst shootings by the police amount to inflicting the death penalty on the street without trial, without evidence, and without a crime being committed. My first book was titled Deadly Force and described a bad shooting by Boston police in which they told the lie that the man the two officers shot in the back and in the back of the head was trying to run them down with his car.
Don't do F1, guys, because that'd be fake engagement. Just say occasionally that you love the TikTok shop. Everybody's happy to be here, because F1 can give us fake engagement things. So just be careful with that.
That was a lie. That is a lie that police have been using to justify bad shootings since the invention of the automobile. Prior to the age of video, it was almost impossible to prove that police were lying in situations like that. But beginning with the first video of police crime, the beating of Rodney King in Los Angeles in 1991, we as citizens have been given the opportunity with video to make our own judgments about what we see with our own eyes. And we have that ability tonight, thanks to the video shot by an eyewitness today in Minnesota, where one of Donald Trump's ICE agents shot and killed an unarmed 37-year-old woman for no apparent reason that can be found on the video of that shooting. And first, they lied. Kristi Noem, the cabinet member with jurisdiction over the ICE officer who fired his gun for no apparent reason on the video, as you will see in a moment, told this lie in her very first statement about the shooting, which she issued today at 1:13 p.m. She said they were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them. That's a quote. She said, our ICE officers were out in enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push.
Let's see. Adverse weather in Minneapolis. Adverse weather in Minneapolis. Looks like a typical day in that part of the world where the sun is shining. It's a cold day. There's snow. The wind is probably blowing. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it's too bad a day, does it? Look, you could actually even see the reflection of the sun in the mirror. Adverse conditions, my ass. Fuck you, Kristi. Fuck you.
Out their vehicle. And a woman attacked them and those around them. When you watch this video, you will see they were not stuck in the snow. You will see there was no snow on the pavement where the ICE vehicle was. You will see they were not attempting to push their vehicle out of any snow. They were driving their vehicle, and they stopped their vehicle, and they got out of their vehicle. And they didn't get any snow on their boots when they got out of their vehicle because there was no snow on the ground under their vehicle. 2 hours after Kristi Noem said that, Donald Trump told this lie, saying that the dead woman, who the Minneapolis Star-Tribune identified as Renee Nicole Good, was, quote, that she viciously ran over the ICE officer. That is a vicious Donald Trump lie. Donald Trump began that statement by saying, quote, I have just viewed the clip.
While he's mentioning that, I don't want to say this for any MAGA that's in here. I would ask for just a moment to just put your loyalty to Donald Trump aside. Just put it aside for a second and just go back and look at the video. Now, I know it's impossible to do that. I know that you've got brain worms, that you're in the fucking cult, that you will try to find confirmation bias wherever you can get it. But you look at the vehicle or the video. You watch it from every fucking angle. I don't give a shit what angle you watch it from. And then you come back and report objectively that officer was under threat, that person was, the officer had to go to the hospital. What was the quote again? Just as a reminder, this is what he said. This is what your president said. Based on the video that I've seen, it's hard to believe the officer is still alive. but is now recovering in the hospital. Try that. Try that. Gifting got suspended again, friends. You know what to do. Try that. You won't, but maybe you will.
Not one person who has seen the video of the event has said that the car ran over the ICE officer. The only person to tell that lie is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is the person who will make sure that there will be no honest federal investigation of what happened today. Donald Trump's Justice Department will not investigate that shooting as a possible murder, as they should, because Donald Trump has already decided the case.
I'm going to pause right there for just a second and bring up a couple guests. I see Smitty. I'm going to bring Smitty up. It's always the first caller. It's always the first guest of the day that gets that I have a technical issue with. So if you're still there, my friend, you can come on back.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I had a little issue myself.
I got you.
First off, man, thank you so much for this. This is so important to talk about. Number one, and everything you said is just so true, man. I'm always amazed that, we all have the same access to video footage. And the fact that you have so many people that are looking at the same video and seeing something completely different is just outrageous to me. How in the hell would any domestic T wave the car that she wants to unalive, and then when they get out, which, by the way, we treat women so horribly in this country. Why in the hell would she not be scared? Right? Why should she look at these folks with these masks on or whatever it may be and stop? Right. And engage with them. Why wouldn't she want to leave? Right. And then secondly, she pulls off, she cranks her steering wheel all the way to the right. I don't know, man. But if I'm trying to, ram into somebody, I'm certainly not going to crank my steering wheel all the way in the opposite direction and try to get away. And then the saddest part, man, for a so-called Christian nation like the United States, for medical aid to be denied for 15 minutes. A doctor on the scene say, hey, I can help. Let me take her pulse. And those folks denying medical aid, even in, many federal and state handbooks when it comes to officer involved shootings. There is a mandate that says the minute that is done, that medical aid must be rendered. And the fact that there was no ability to do that and that her life was just snuffed out in such a disgusting and heinous way. It is so frustrating, man. It is so frustrating to see.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. I mean, as we know, women are under threat in our country every single day. So it's nothing new. And I mentioned earlier, I mean, your community, this is nothing new to your community. Let's be honest. It's nothing new in America to the black and brown community. This kind of shit happens every fucking day. But you're right. It's, you look at the video. What more do you need to see? Like, how we always talk about these conversations, like what more evidence does MAGA need? And then when it comes to violence against women, they've basically admitted, unless there's a video of the incident itself and that they can confirm it's not AI, then they'll believe it. So here we are. Like I just said, the challenge is thrown down. Go watch the video. Be objective. Tell me where you see that officer in fear for his life. That the president himself said he's surprised the officer's alive. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yes. Then you're right. And that was the point that I tried to make yesterday as I was talking about this. One, obviously, we must hold space for Renee Good and the work that she was doing out there and the fact that she was a completely innocent person. And we can never lose sight of that. But at the same time, imagine being an undocumented immigrant. If they're willing to unalive a white U.S. citizen, what the hell are they willing to do for us, black and brown folks? And what the hell are they willing to do to undocumented immigrants? And so, it's one of those things that we have to, again, hold space for her and her memory and her family, her children. But at the same time, again, what does this mean to the truly vulnerable and marginalized communities in this country?
Sadly, more of the same, only worse.
Yes, absolutely, man. Hey, man, I always appreciate you having me up, bro.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Friends, if you don't follow Smitty, please do. Smitty's one of the first creators that I really liked and respected that followed me back. I don't know if you know that story, but I've always been a big fan. So thank you for what you do, bro. I appreciate you very much.
Appreciate you, man. You stay safe out here.
See ya. Take care. He's right. I mean, it's, again, day in the life of every marginalized community in our country. And women are already under threat every single day. Every single day. We know, we've seen stories. It's been reported by people posing as ICE officers and detaining women of color and abusing them. Those stories have been reported. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. We know it's happened. Women are not safe in our country. Marginalized communities are not safe in our country. And apparently now, white women under ICE's control are not safe. Back to Lawrence.
And he's decided it with a lie. Kristi Noem has already decided the case. And what Donald Trump said to every ICE officer and every federal officer working for him today in his immigration raids is, I will absolve you of any crime you might commit in the course of doing my bidding, including murder if necessary, and I will do it immediately. In a tweet. At 6:20 p.m., Kristi Noem made her second public statement, and this time she added, no doubt on the advice of lawyers, the very specific language necessary to make this kind of shooting legal if and only if that language is true. Kristi Noem said, quote, ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over it. Well, this appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism, the ICE officer fearing for his life. Wow. And here are the key words. The Justice Department lawyers, no doubt, added to Kristi Noem's statement this evening in an attempt to make this shooting legal. Kristi Noem said, the ICE officer fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public fired defensive shots. If those words are...
Again, just so we're clear, that statement is the ICE officer fearing for his life and the others officers around him and the safety of the public fired defensive shots. Again, I take you to this picture. He is out of the way. These are his feet. This is one of the agents. This is the agent that approached from the vehicle, from the truck, demanding, screaming at her. Again, a woman in a car being approached by masked men, screaming at her, telling her to get out of the car. Okay, but who's the threat here? Okay, there's that. And then, of course, we have this picture of the agent firing into the car. And yet, Kristi Noem's statement is he fired defensive shots? Really? Really? We also have, and there's another one, and then there's this one as well, right? Similarly, that car is driving away. It's past him. How, in what fucking world, even in the upside down, that is not defensive? That is the statement. ICE officer fearing for his life. From what? From what? Sorry, move this over here. From what? You can see it. That car is past him. It's pulling away. Don't forget, he's already done this. He's already shot into the window. Right? We know by ICE and DHS and DOJ policy that a vehicle moving, there is no, it's not a credible threat because it has to be coming from inside the vehicle. Again, ICE and DOJ policy. Okay, there's that. And then we get this. Again, firing into the vehicle. And then we get this. More of the same. Into the vehicle. And then we have this. Better angle. Cars past him. And then we have this. That's the officer. The officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. Really? Really? Okay.
Officers around him and the safety of the public fired defensive shots. If those words are true, the shooting is legal. But how could that officer be fearing for his life with an unarmed woman who was not trying to run him down with her car? How could he be fearing for his life in the final shots that he was firing at her when he was standing beside her car as it was driving past him?
Correct.
And he was pumping bullets still into her.
Correct.
When the car had no possibility of hitting him or anyone else. And he was shooting her with the intent of killing her, which he did.
There were 3 shots fired that we know. 3. The first one into the windshield from the side. You can see the angle. And the other 2 were into the open window as the vehicle was going past him.
Kristi Noem said that the ICE agent who fired his gun was the only ICE agent on the scene who thought it was necessary to fire his gun. And at the beginning of the incident, he was not the ICE agent closest to the woman.
Correct.
In the car. That agent who was closest thought there was no problem. There was no reason to fire a gun. The agent who approached the woman most closely and would have been in the most danger from her did not fire his gun because he knew he was not in any danger at any point. Kristi Noem said that the shooter was treated at a local hospital.
For what?
You will see video of the shooter never being touched by that vehicle and then without any hindrance at all walking all the way down the street to where the car crashes with a dying woman bleeding to death at the wheel. And then he walks all the way back. And you'll see him walk back on that video. And you will see he does not limp. And you will see he appears completely unharmed. You'll see him grabbing for his phone. You won't see any evidence of him being injured in any way.
Correct.
But what you will see is reason to believe that they are lying. I'm going to show you this video now. It's 1 minute long. It is very painful to watch. I've been studying evidence like this in my entire journalistic career, and I always hate looking at it.
I'm not going to play it.
That the woman behind the wheel, quote, viciously ran over the ICE officer. That's a lie. No one gets run over. No one was run over. Not even close. That's the easy part. You will also see the lies of Kristi Noem. You will see as this video begins that the ICE agents were not attempting to push their vehicle out of snow. You will see that the ICE agents were not stuck in snow. You'll see no snow on the pavement. They were not attempting to push their vehicle. You will see that they had plenty of room to drive their car around the Honda Pilot driven by Renee Good if they wanted to. If they wanted to get around her, there was plenty of room in the other lane. You will see what appears to be Renee Good's attempt at some point to get out of their way by driving away. One of the officers apparently was telling her to leave. So driving away would make sense, or attempting to drive away would make sense. And as you watch this video, remember that you live in a country where the Supreme Court decided long ago that law enforcement is not allowed to shoot to kill anyone simply because they are fleeing if you think that she is fleeing. It used to be legal to shoot anyone in most states if they were fleeing from anything, a misdemeanor, anything. Drive through a stop sign by mistake, then flee from police trying to get you to stop, and they could just shoot and kill you in most states. Perfectly legal in this country to get the death penalty on the street for something that you wouldn't get jailed for if you were fleeing. But the Supreme Court changed that in the 1980s. Hollywood did not get the message, so many people still believe, thanks to the poisonous understanding of law enforcement that Hollywood has delivered consistently, that of course police can shoot at any fleeing vehicle for any reason, but they cannot. That's against the law. So if Renee Good was trying to flee or drive away, the ICE agents could pursue her, but they could not shoot her. They could not kill her.
So I'm going to stop it there because I'm not going to play the video. Again, let's focus on what we know. Okay, we know that was Lawrence O'Donnell reporting on that. What we know, if you've seen the video prior to that, she was obviously again, the claims made is that she was blocking traffic. I've not seen enough of that to make that definitive statement. We do know that she was in the street. Now, was she backing up to turn around? Was she backing out of her driveway? There's all kinds of reportings. We're all going to report on what we know. Not going to make any assumptions, not going to make any suppositions, not going to make any claims that we cannot, without question, verify and confirm. That's always been our commitment to you, and we will stick with that. She was backing up her car. Two thugs, armed obviously, got out of their truck. This truck here, just so again we're looking at so we're all tracking this vehicle here. Okay, again, they weren't stuck. The streets are. I've got more snow in my driveway currently than that. The streets are clear. So again, the lie about being stuck in the snow is fucking bullshit. They got out of their truck. They walked over to her vehicle. Right? They walked over to her vehicle in an attempt to do what? Force her out. So this gentleman leaves the truck, walks over to her vehicle, attempting to pull her out. For what reason? They are not law enforcement unless it's related to immigration activities. Those are the rules. That's what ICE talks about. Those are the directions. That's the way the law's supposed to work. Period. This gentleman is attempting to what? Pull her out of the vehicle, intimidate her. We've seen it, right? We've seen it. Then the other guy comes around the front of the car. All right, this guy. We see the first shot into the windshield, which is this shot right here, into the windshield. The vehicle is obviously pulling away from him, turning right. What more information do you need? What other conclusion can you draw? No one seems to care anymore. That's what makes this timeline just so fucking disturbing. So it makes this entire thing so fucking disturbing. Good morning, friend.
Good morning. Happy New Year, Steve. I haven't talked to you in a while. Happy New Year, chat. I wanted to chime in because I have some super specialized training. So I'm a forensic psychologist. So I'm the person who goes in as far as like law enforcement is concerned, and prior to, so pre-employment, we go and do the psychological assessments, and then afterwards, like if they discharge a firearm or anything like that, to find out about exactly what you were asking about. You were saying about like the decision-making processes and all of that stuff. So I'm specialized in law enforcement, so I know all the psychological assessment components that goes along with it. So I requested earlier because when you said it, I was like, I wonder, does ICE do they have to do the psychological assessment component to us? But I was driving, but I'm in the house now. So I looked it up. Actually, they don't. So state level and city level law enforcement officers, so we're talking about police officers, anybody who works for the court system, the sheriff's department, all of that stuff, they have a mandatory psychological assessment that they have to complete for pre-employment. With the ICE agents and the federal agents, which I need to check on the FBI because I'm not really sure if FBI and CIA, but I'm almost willing to bet they do have a mandatory one. But ICE for sure does not have a mandatory psychological assessment. So what that means for the general public, the questions that you were asking about whether or not, so you didn't ask this direct question, but this is the question, like, are they able to interpret the law? Are they able to make good judgment and decisions when they are in high stress situations? Do they know how to de-escalate, so on and so forth? And then we look at their background and determine whether or not they have risk factors in their background all the way back to childhood that will prevent them from operating within a space of a law enforcement officer in a community setting, in a high stress situation, and what those risk factors look like. We even get all the way down to bribery, like whether or not somebody, is bribable. That's the good word for it. So if these ICE agents aren't even getting that very basic, I guess it's not basic, the screening for pre-employment purposes, so of course, these situations are going to constantly come up because even if they are told the law, we don't know if they know how to interpret the law in situations like this. And we also don't know whether or not they know how to apply the law in situations in which a law enforcement officer would be in a high stress situation, a car driving towards them or whatever the case may be. So this, when I tell you extremely dangerous, doesn't even begin to describe the level of risk that the community has as a whole, having ICE agents out on the streets with firearms in high stress situations. We're talking about not just their regular duties, I guess, whatever the crap those are. But now we're talking about just the citizens. We're talking about a city landscape. We're talking about weather conditions. We're talking about just general traffic, people just moving about in the city. So it's so many various factors that goes along with this that the ICE department and DHS or whoever they are, they didn't even screen for to make sure that these people are properly in the mental headspace to even deal with situations like this. So I'm not surprised that this happened. I'm not surprised at all. And I'm also not surprised that people are like in such an uproar in this situation. So over the last 24 hours, I've been actually sitting and just looking at this from a behavioral standpoint and how people are approaching their outrage when it comes to this situation. It does not surprise me whatsoever that they're starting to put this in these little boxes. Okay, well, the non-citizens, it's okay, not okay, but okay that, these people are losing their lives in this setting. But oh my God, a citizen, I can't believe they did this to the citizen. You literally read a whole entire list of people who have lost their lives prior to yesterday under this ICE crap that they have going on. Where is the outrage for those people? Our bar is way too low for this mess. It's like, oh, as long as they're not U.S. citizens, it's fine. No, it's not fine.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This is not the first instance. I mean, again, we've seen it. The people in our country don't generally pay attention to the plight and to the crimes against brown and black people. We know that. You don't need me to tell you that, Fairy Dust. But here we are. Here we are. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, obviously. It doesn't matter. And somebody made up a very, very good point. Brooke in our mod chat said a lot of the recruitment of ICE agents are either ex-military, ex-law enforcement, and due respect to the situation, but a lot of them probably experiencing PTSD.
I was just whatever reason. To say that too. Yep.
Right. For whatever reason. So you are already in a situation where maybe stressful moments aren't necessarily the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And just environmental stimulation that goes along with those situations can 100% trigger a PTSD symptoms, triggers, like all kinds of stuff. They can disassociate. Like, it's, when I tell you, extremely dangerous. And I want everybody to understand how dangerous these situations are. Just very basic. This young lady was waving them through. She was saying, no, go ahead and go past. Go ahead and go past. They jumped out on her.
Correct.
Like, it was an attorney here in the city of Chicago. They rammed her, and when she's like threw her hands up, they yanked her out of her car and threw her into an ICE vehicle and drove off. It's like, what is happening? What is happening? And I'm just, when I tell you, I have been extremely pissed to the point where I'm just like, now my question is, because I asked this question back in the election, and I'm going to continue to ask this question over and over and over again, because this is what it boils down to. White community, when are you going to check your people? You cannot run away from this and say, I didn't vote for him. It does not matter. You all as a community have to come together and check your people. This is nobody else's responsibility but you all's. This is a community issue. These are community-centered things within the white community that you all have to address. We cannot keep going on and acting like, oh, this is because of the immigrants. Oh, this is because narco-terrorists or whatever mess that they come up with for the day. This is absurd. We have a group of people who are in the White House who are holding everybody hostage. Let's just call it what it is.
You're so right, my friend. It's so good to hear from you. Again, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for coming up, and thank you for always dropping some knowledge on us. I appreciate you, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? Bye, guys.
All right, bye. No notes. This is a system built by people who look like me to benefit people who look like me to protect people who look like me. When the fuck is the white community going to step the fuck up? When is it going to happen? This is one of the principal spirits behind Do Something. You know, I want to use my white privilege because I absolutely fucking have it. Constantly trying to unpack from it, but I'm absolutely aware of it, and I want to do better. And I want other people to realize it. And I want other white men to be calling out other white men. This is fucking bullshit. It's murder. I'm going to call it what it fucking is. That's exactly what it was. There is no justification for any of it. There is none. There is no justification. Not just, sadly, what happened to Ms. Good yesterday, but the crimes that I've already talked about perpetrated by ICE. Abuse of pregnant women in ICE detention centers. Teenagers being cracked in the testicles? Are you kidding me? So once again, just briefly, if people are looking for something to do in our constant quest for Do Something, they're in the Discord. You can find the link to the Discord that's in my link tree. If it doesn't work for some reason, either just copy the link and put it in a browser, and we should open Discord for you. You can join. We ask that you just follow the steps, or reach out to one of our moderators, and they can help you as well. In our Discord, there's a channel that's called Do Something. As we approach the spring, yours truly is going to be out on the road talking to people about things like this, not just this incident, but just how do we hold each other accountable? How do white people hold other white people accountable? How do men hold other men accountable? Okay? So I wrote a script last night. If you guys decide you want to contact your elected members of Congress, either in the House or in the Senate, so this is what it says. It's brief. If you want, there's also a pared down version. So first of all, call 202-224-3121 and ask for your rep or senator. That number is the congressional switchboard. Hello, my name is, state your name. I am a constituent and a U.S. citizen calling to express deep concern about a serious incident reported in Minneapolis on January the 7th, 2025, involving the death of Renee Nicole Good and an alleged involvement of an ICE agent. I want to be very clear. After reviewing the disturbing video of the incident, I'm calling because any allegation of lethal force by a federal law enforcement officer demands immediate, independent oversight. This case raises questions about the conduct and accountability of federal agents, whether body camera footage, reports, and chain of command actions are being preserved, and whether the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are being independently investigated and not policing themselves. I am asking either your rep or your senator's name to do three things. Publicly call for an independent investigation into the incident, demand transparency from DHS and ICE, including release of all relevant records, and support congressional oversight or hearings if warranted by the facts. No federal agency should be above scrutiny, especially when a civilian has lost their life. Please let my representative know that I expect accountability, transparency, and respect for due process for the victim, for the family, and for the public. Thank you for your time. Again, that script is in the Do Something channel if you want to use it. If not, go for it. What I tried to do is put specifics on it. Absolutely. If you want to call and be angry, then fucking do that too. No doubt about it. But I want accountability. I want them to explain the process of conduct and accountability. Questions about body camera footage and reports. Who's doing the oversight? Demand transparency. There are specific actions, right? And again, if you want to use it, knock yourself out. If not, get the 5 Calls app. You can all kinds of things you can do. Friends, this is one of those moments that I've been talking to you all about for months now, about doing something. I know many of us are angry. Many of us are exhausted. Again, the number is 202-224-3121. Many of us are exhausted. Many of us are scared. Okay? Many of us are super scared. And I get it. But we have to do something. We cannot sit by and let this happen. I'm not asking you necessarily to put yourself in harm's way, but if that may be what it takes. I've done that in my life. I don't recommend it. It's really up to you. But white men, where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are you? You can assimilate just about anywhere. Why are you not on the front lines of this shit? Standing shoulder to shoulder with anyone and everyone. Where the fuck are you? We just look at the problems. Look at the faces when they're not masked of the pathetic fucking cowards who are doing this. They're white men for the most part. What are you going to do? Again, the number is 202-224-3121. That is the Congressional Switchboard number. Our mods will post it. I'll just do it right now. Hold on a second. Let me just do this. I'm not sure if I can fit it all in there, but I'll try. Let's see if it will fit. 202-224-3121. That's it. That's the number to the switch. That's the number to the switchboard. I don't know if TikTok's going to take that. They review everything that you put in there as far as the sticker goes, but that's the number. 202-224-3121. Okay. Once again, I just want to take a moment to recognize that not only was Renee Good just a beautiful, Renee Nicole Good, not only beautiful, but a mom, but a wife, but a contributor to the community, was also an award-winning poet. She talks about that in her bio. She wrote a poem called, the title of the poem is On Learning to Dissect Fetal Pigs. And this is just some of it. It says, I want back my rocking chairs and sunsets and coastal jungle sounds that are tercets from cicadas and pentameter from the hairy legs of cockroaches. I've donated Bibles to thrift stores. I've mashed them in plastic trash bags with an acidic Himalayan salt lamp. The post-baptism Bibles, the ones plucked from street corners from the meaty hands of zealots, the dumbed-down, easy-to-read, parasitic kind. Remember more than slick rubber smells of high-gloss biology textbooks, pictures. They burned the hairs inside my nostrils. That's just a little bit of the poem that she wrote, right? That's her. So she's an award-winning poet, a contributor to society. I hope you're angry. You should be. I really, really hope you're angry because you should be. Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Appreciate y'all. And again, gifting suspended. Want to support the channel? You can do that through the various means. RDL, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to point out one thing that I've seen in this video that I've not heard anyone else mention. When the two officers are approaching her side door, her car door, and she's looking at them and yelling out the window, the other officer comes around from her passenger side to the front of the vehicle. I'm 100% sure she probably didn't even see him because she was looking at these other officers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm
and he's not even supposed to do that. They're again, apparently their training would tell them that you're not supposed to stand in front of the vehicle.
Well, he's probably a proud boy. He probably didn't get any training. But anyway,
we don't want to make that assumption.
Well,
right, but again,
right.
Yep.
But I mean, for her defense, like in a trial, I think that would be a great defense for her for whoever. I would almost 100% bet that she didn't even see that guy come around the front.
It's very possible. You know? It's a really good point. It's very possible.
She's looking over at the other guys, screaming at him, looking at them, paying attention to them. She didn't even see him come around. So it's not like she was intentionally trying to run him over because she probably didn't even see him.
I completely agree. Thanks for that perspective, RDL. I appreciate you jumping in today. Thanks for being here. All right. Thanks a lot. See you later. All right. I've got a bunch of folks that requested. I may not get to everybody today. I'll do my best, folks. I've got a lot of people that are requesting, and I want to hear I want to hear from people today. I really, really do. That's what this is about. Question is, what are we all going to do? All right. Joe Fish, how are you today? Joe Fish, are you there? Joe Fish? I guess not. Sorry about that. Hey, man. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. What's going on?
Well, with everything going on recently, something really stuck out to me in regards to like the gaslighting and the just the blatant lies from this administration. And that is a quote from George Orwell's 1984. And that is the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. And that's where we're at right now. That is really where we're at. And I just, we have to be standing up against it. We can't be complacent, and we have to, again, like you always say, do something. And that was just my thought.
Well, I appreciate you, Dano. It's a really good perspective. I mean, how true was I remember reading 1984 thinking, wow, how dystopian, but damn, here we are.
Exactly.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate your support as always. Thanks for being here. Have a good day.
Of course. Yeah. Have a good day.
Do you too. Brings up a really good point, right? There are two, how do I want to say this? There are two competing narratives on this story, right? One is what Fox and the right-wing echo chamber led by the president and Kristi Noem are trying to tell you, and the other is the truth. All you have to do is watch the video. All you have to do is compare what the claims made by DHS and by the president are to what the handbook says. That's it. It's not complicated. It's really not that complicated. Again, just as a reminder, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. I don't know how it could be any more clear than that. Seriously. How can it be any more clear than that? ICE's own rules, DHS's own rules, the DOJ's own rules. That's it. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Steve. We're only 8 days in. 2026 is not going well.
Hasn't started off so hot.
Hasn't started off. But, under the right-wing spin, pretty much the Capitol Police should have mowed down all the January 6s.
Apparently.
According to what they're saying. But one thing I think I think a lot of people really have to look at the entire video, because prior to the incident, you see she starts driving away. A vehicle goes in front of her, so she stops.
She waves it through.
SUV, the silver SUV comes up. She waves it around her.
Correct.
One of these Gestapo agents comes out, goes and tries to open her car door, which you're not supposed to do. There's no imminent threat. There's no reason for him to reach into a vehicle.
Correct.
Then the other Gestapo agent comes around. And if they were all worried that they were in danger, why did not one other of them pull out their firearm?
Correct.
Not one of them.
Not one.
So
exactly right.
Evidently they didn't feel they were in danger.
That's exactly right.
But
that's exactly right.
It's disgusting. Putting a spin on this is disgusting. What happened was pure, and it wasn't an accident. It was straight up M word, and that's all I'm going to say. And there's no reason for it. They can spin it all they want, and the fact is, this guy has to be prosecuted on a state level, so he can't be pardoned.
I would agree, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But thanks, Chris. I appreciate you, bud. I'll be watching Sunday night. I know you will too. Have a good day, my friend.
You
be
too.
Safe out there.
Be good. Bye.
He's he's right, and I think we're going to play some sound from Tim Walz. So I think from a political perspective, obviously, sadly, this relates to politics, but Tim Walz is standing by to activate the National Guard. I'm not sure if it's happened this morning, but that's a big move, because if he does that, he's the governor of the state of Minnesota, which means he has the authority over the National Guard. He can call in the National Guard and do it prior to the president doing it. If I were to make a prediction, I think you will see ICE leave Minnesota. I think they have to. I don't see how they can possibly spin their way out of this. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to potentially see a standoff in an American city between National Guard under the command of the governor of Minnesota and ICE. There are 13,000 ICE agents in Minnesota. Their prime directive, like any other National Guard, is to protect the citizens of their state. That's it. That's it. So it's not going to end well, obviously. And I'm expecting that they will not hold this person accountable because they've already gone out there. Mods, would you please take out the trustee trash today? I'm not going to listen to that pathetic fuck. Here we are. Here we are. This is who we are. And I think it was Fairy Dust who said it perfectly well. White people, white men in particular, where the fuck are we? Where are you? When are you going to finally show the fuck up? When? And how? And what are you going to do? Now, I am not going to sit up here and advocate for violence. I'm not. The argument that we get from the right is it's the left that promotes this shit. And what the administration and what Kristi Noem is attempting to do is try to say this is because of years of people going after. Fuck ICE. Fuck all of them. Fuck all of them. Seriously, that's going to be their argument. The reason that people are pissed off at ICE is because of what they're doing to people. Just to kind of go back to my list, all right? Reports from Human Rights Watch documented harrowing intake processes, overcrowded and unsanitary conditions, denial of basic hygiene, limited access to legal counsel, inadequate medical care, 41 credible reports of physical or sexual abuse of individuals in ICE detention, 14 reports of mistreatment of pregnant women, 14 reports of mistreatment of pregnant women, and then 18 reports of mistreatment of children. 32 deaths in ICE custody, the highest number in 2 decades. And you wonder why people are pissed off? And you wonder why people are angry? Why didn't Ashley Babbitt just comply? Right? Suddenly you are in defense of law enforcement? Fuck all of you. Fuck you, MAGA. Fuck you, you pathetic fucks. Suddenly you're in support of law enforcement? You were mocking law enforcement just a day and a half ago as we were remembering. And by the way, just a little side note. Hey, MAGA, just a little side note. If J6 was Antifa and Democrats, then why the fuck are you celebrating it as if it's a holiday? Seriously, if that's your claim still, you fucking smooth-brained potatoes, why the fuck are you celebrating it? Why are you sitting in your own little circle jerk spaces in TikTok and where else celebrating it as if it's a holiday? Why would you do that? You were beating up law enforcement that day. Beating them up. You were beating up law enforcement using stun guns and bear sprays and crutches and flagpoles and fire extinguishers, and in some cases, even the own batons and nightsticks and billy clubs from law enforcement that you were beating up. You abused 140 of them, sent many to the hospital, caused the unaliving of some, as a direct result of the abuse they took. Brian Sicknick, rest in peace, and other officers who took their own lives. You didn't give a fuck about law enforcement then, but now because one of the same, I don't know this guy's history, but would it surprise any of you if he was at J6? Would it surprise any of you that guy was there? Any of you? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. But now that guy is that guy's under threat? That guy? You're now protecting him? Miss me with your fucking bullshit. Fucking pathetic. You're all fucking pathetic. What a joke. What a joke. Yeah, trustee, like I'm going to bring you up here. You pathetic piece of shit. You're just a fucking troll and you know you are. Psh, give me a fucking break. Give me a break.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Hi, May. I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm not well. I am not well.
Yeah.
First, I want to say thank you for doing all that you do. As always, I listen to you when I'm on my journey to do good trouble, so to speak, because I work for a law firm that does a lot of pro bono work for immigration. And for me, this woman, Renee Nicole Good, had every right to be afraid. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but last year alone, we had 2 men in New York, 1 in South Carolina, and 1 in Texas tried to pretend that they were ICE agents so that they could SA women. They were never fully charged. They were just brought in, and then they were released. And that's despite them having records of having SA'd women before. So in that regard, every woman in the immigrant community is already scared because we don't know who to trust. We don't know if these are really ICE agents, if they're people who are just trying to pass as them. And we question, a lot of us, who is going to be the breaking point. And we thought once it happens to someone who is of YT descent, maybe the MAGA community will get upset and do something. Now we see it happen to a YT descent woman who's lost her life and her child is now an orphan. And they do nothing. Like you said, white men, hold your people accountable. I do it to my community all the time because the Mexican community failed everybody, including their wives, their daughters, nieces, everybody. So please hold your people accountable because I don't know if it will take a YT male being a victim of murder, like Renee Nicole Good, for them to react. At this point, I don't know what it would take. And it's frustrating because we know that women are part of a marginalized community because a lot of men who are in the MAGA space or conservative space don't value women. They don't. We are hearing this firsthand from the administration. They don't care. And also, I heard someone yesterday bring up, oh, well, she was a suspect. Of what? Of what? This is why when we yell, show us your warrant, where's the judicial warrant, or signed by a magistrate, and they don't show it, this is why we get upset. Of what? She did nothing besides trying to leave an unsafe situation. And now, I don't know if it's done. I saw yesterday that Representative Presley held a vote, and because it was not unanimous, it failed to do an investigation based off of the acts of yesterday. So I do highly suggest that people go to your Discord, look up that script. Please call your representatives because a lot of us in the immigrant spaces, we're tired. We're just tired. And I can't, all these people save the children or that they're pro-life, you're fucking not. Just stop. Because you're not. You don't care about Renee Nicole. You don't care about any of the immigrant women who have been, pew-pewed. And you don't care about the women who've lost their lives. You don't. So, thank you for allowing me.
You got it. You got it. Anytime. Thanks for being here, friend. I appreciate you, and be safe, okay? And please check in once in a while. I'm now worried about you, so please check back in. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
You got it. See you later. She's right. Right. She's right. I'm about to play some sound from Ayanna Pressley. Just so here it is. And I've got some more sound to play because, again, cause and effect. This would not have happened. Okay? This would not have happened if Nick Shirley, a YouTuber, 23-year-old little fucking bitch. By the way, my son, who is will be 25 this year, has Nick Shirley in his figurative crosshairs. My son's really good on social media, and he's disgusted by that shit. So there you go. Anyway, this would not have happened. It would not have happened without lies told about the Somali community. And we're going to play some sound from Nancy fucking Mace, who will prove exactly what I just said. Okay? So this is Ayanna Pressley at a committee hearing yesterday.
Mr. Chair, I seek recognition to make a motion for a subpoena.
State your motion.
I would like to make a motion to subpoena the Department of Homeland Security for all documents and footage related to the murder of a woman by ICE that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota today.
A motion has been made. The committee will hold this motion in abeyance till the end of today's hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My motion to subpoena is pretty straightforward. Earlier today, a woman was shot multiple times and killed by immigration enforcement agents in Minnesota while we were holding a hearing on the state. And while there are claims that ICE did nothing wrong, the officials in Minnesota say otherwise. And since this committee is responsible for oversight of federal law enforcement, we must investigate. This subpoena will help us get to the truth, and it should have bipartisan support. And I urge my colleagues to vote yes.
Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 20, the nays are 20.
It is a tie, so the motion fails. Does any other member have any business before the committee? Seeing none, without objection.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of committee hearings, this sound is incredibly disturbing. But this is Nancy Mace. This is, by the way, she is running for Senate. I'm sorry, she's running for the governor of South Carolina. So, friends, those of you who live in South Carolina, you'll know what to do. So this was before this had happened. This was a hearing. This was just before this incident. So she's doing what she does. The racist bigot fuck that she is. She is interviewing. She's asking questions of Mr. Baloo. I'm not exactly sure of his title, but here you go. This is just who she is, and this is who MAGA is. There you go.
Should Somalians in Minnesota be required to speak English? They're citizens. Yes or no? Should they be required to speak English if they're American citizens?
I think that question is really inappropriate.
Should they? It's not inappropriate. This is the United States of America. Do you speak English? Should Americans speak English? Citizens speak English? Yes or no?
Point of inquiry: is English the official language of the United States? It's a question.
Mr. Chairman, I'm being interrupted again by another.
That's not a valid parliamentary inquiry.
I would like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reclaim my time.
She's asking the witness.
A popular theme today.
That's not a valid inquiry.
It's a point of inquiry.
Women have the right to speak in this committee. Conservative women have the right to speak here and not be interrupted by my male colleagues. Mr. Chairman, I would like to reclaim my time. I lost like 10 seconds there.
Okay, we'll give you 10 seconds.
Okay, my next question is, should Somalians who committed fraud be denaturalized and deported, Mr. Baloo?
Again,
yes,
I'm not sure that's an appropriate question because the majority of Somali
So if you commit fraud in this country and you are here from Somalia, you don't believe they should be denaturalized and deported. Again, how much fraud would it take for you to want to denaturalize and deport someone who committed fraud in this country? How much?
Again,
$1 billion, $9 billion, $19 billion? What would it take for you?
Most Somali Minnesotans are citizens.
Right. And the ones that committed fraud, the question was, if you understand English, should be those who committed fraud, should they be denaturalized and deported? The Somalians who are here, the ones that can't speak English.
Yeah, so under U.S. law...
Okay, my next question for you
Can I please finish the question?
No, you can't because you're not answering the question. My next question is, this is yes or no. If you marry your brother and you commit immigration fraud, should you be denaturalized and deported? If you commit immigration fraud, yes or no?
Again, that question seems really inappropriate. And if I can get back to
Well, you can't answer my question, so that's probably more inappropriate. Can you name one significant contribution to Minnesota from a Somali immigrant who can't speak English?
Absolutely, yes. But again, this is...
You didn't name one. All right, so my next questions are going to be for the Honorable Ms. Robbins. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today.
If you, even if you're not represented by Nancy Mace, 202-224-3121. That woman is a despicable piece of fucking shit. And she will get hundreds of thousands, if not more, votes when she runs to be the governor of South Carolina. That's who she is. That's who she is. And that's partly why what happened yesterday happened, because of rhetoric like that. Hey, Mishi.
Hey, can you hear me? It feels glitchy on my end.
Yeah, I got you.
So this administration, it's good to see you, by the way. Yeah, you too. This administration just uses people, okay? They use law enforcement, right? So if we look at J6, for example, they are gaslighting the Capitol Police, saying they're the ones who incited violence, right? So everybody is expendable for them. Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of the few people that came to Donald Trump's side during all of his wrongdoings, and he threw her out for one misstep. I think everyone needs to realize that this administration, that includes you, MAGA, I mean, he was ready to toss you out for wanting the e-files released. Remember, he said, you guys need to stop this, right? You guys are not loyalists. So you have to understand, one misstep and you're out. Whether you're a longstanding veteran, General Kelly, General Milley, it doesn't matter. Anybody that gets in their way, as we just saw yesterday, is expendable. And you are not
so
exempt. And you are not exempt.
No, you're right. The entire thing is about a loyalty test. The expectation is that you are unbridled loyalty no matter what. And unless you are 100% on the team, you are off the team.
Correct. And that's why we're in the trouble that we are right now, because Congress is, Republicans are leading under fear. I think they're fearful for their lives. I think that they think they vote against this administration, that thugs like the man we saw yesterday will come after them.
Yeah, and I think that they've probably been promised wealth or access to capital or whatever it might be, or they just, at this point, they don't know what to do. They're too far down that fucking hole. I don't care. I don't care. It's not even, to me at this point, I don't even trust Congress. I want white men to step the fuck up for the first time ever. Seriously.
I think this might be the push. I had a MAGA on my live yesterday who admitted what happened yesterday was wrong.
It's crazy.
I think that we're seeing more people. The 1984 quote was amazing.
I know. I agree.
And it applies, I got in a Facebook fight, why I bother, but I'm like, this is the same thing. I bet you think J6 was peaceful. We literally watched it unfold, and they are rewriting history within seconds now. Not months and years, within seconds.
That's exactly right.
So
anyway. We'll see. I appreciate you saying that. I guess, we all have different groups of people that we can go after. We're always hoping. We actually had a little debate in our mod chat last night to say, hey, what should the caption be? Like, is she the red line? And rightly so, people pointed out there's never been a red line for them. What would make this any different than anything else? No. Seriously, raping women wasn't enough. Crimes weren't enough. J6 wasn't enough. Blatant and obvious corruption wasn't enough. No new wars bullshit wasn't enough. Why would I think that just a random incident where a young 37-year-old mother of a 6-year-old kid out in her community gets murdered in cold blood by ICE, why would I think that would be enough?
Yeah, I was screaming and crying yesterday. And the amount of videos that have been shown to me on my algorithm today of white Republican MAGA women, FAFO videos is just
crazy.
Deplorable.
It's crazy.
It is deplorable and is disgusting. And you are celebrating the death of a mother, an unjustified death of a mother.
Right. So I want to use that. So I can call out white men. I need I need other white women to call out other white women. That has to happen too. Because again, it's white people. It's all white people. So white men need to call out other white men. White women need to call out other white women. And we need to do it a lot. A lot. So
all right.
Thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you. See you later. Take care. Bye. I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. And I know people like Mishi, and I saw Ash in the chat, and it's happening, but it's got to happen more. It is unfucking acceptable for Nancy Mace to be spewing that bullshit. That kind of fucking rhetoric is what put us here. Her lies about the Somali community and her racism and her bigotry and her transphobia. She still drops the T slur when it comes to the trans population. She's a despicable fucking human being, and she will get thousands of votes in South Carolina. Where are the white women to call this shit out? And why is it taking so long? That's what I want to know. A lot of you do it. It's not everybody. It's a generalized statement, but it has to happen more. So when you see white women holding lives, basically cheering on this shit, are you requesting up? Are you requesting up to call out their fucking shit? I fucking hope so. Mishi said she had something else she wanted to say before I get to somebody else.
Yeah, I forgot one thing.
Something.
Yeah,
Sure.
On a total side note, Nick Shirley interviewed me.
Really?
Yeah, at the DNC.
When was this?
When I was walking into the DNC, he thought he had a gotcha moment with me on why Kamala Harris was qualified to be president. Of course, I do this enough that I had very strong arguments, and his mommy had to step in and rescue him because he couldn't debate me. He couldn't handle the conversation. So it was quite interesting. And of course, it didn't end up on his YouTube because,
Of course not. No,
yeah, he got dog walked. So, I mean, understand that these little MAGA YouTubers, they just pick and choose, but they certainly don't show their weakness. So anyway.
Never.
I just
wanted
to
say that.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate you. Thanks a lot. See you later. Yeah, I mean, again, all this has happened because of rhetoric. Now, the administration is going to attempt to say, well, these violent, this is their logic. This is what they want their smooth brain followers to believe. They want you to believe. Yes, Valerie, I see you. 1 second. They want you to believe that the reason that these things are justified is because ICE agents and federal law enforcement are under threat. Let's think about that for a second. Why do you think your claim is that they're under threat? Well, maybe if they weren't going into fucking communities acting like the fucking jackbooted thugs that they fucking are, then maybe they wouldn't have to worry about it. Maybe they wouldn't have to worry about it. Maybe they just went about their business. Why is it that we can look at ICE stats for this year and understand what they are doing and why people are fucking angry? What's the number again? Hold on a second. 14 reports of mistreatment of pregnant women. 18 reports of mistreatment of children in ICE custody. Inadequate medical care, denial of legal access, unsanitary conditions, family separations, and overcrowding. You wonder why people are pissed off? You wonder? Mods, can you take out Lukey, please? You wonder why? You wonder why people are fucking pissed? You wonder?
My name's Valerie. I'm 53.
Hi, Valerie.
I'm from the state of Alabama, and you want somebody to call people out, and I'm fixing to do it. First of all, for all the people who are in the negative area saying she effed around and found out, okay, if you have an education at all, you would looked in that video and saw from every angle. First of all, her wheels were turned to the right. They were not turned towards him. The other, first of all, that should have been I should have pointed out first, she was told to leave. They were told to get out, leave. Another car cut her off. She couldn't get out first because the other car, the gray car, cut her off first. She was trying to get out, but they pulled up like Ghostbusters, hollering and screaming. I would have flipped out too. But
Sure.
the point is, okay, everybody, and you want somebody, I'm going to call it out right now what it is. YT women, you stood up now that this has happened, and I am sorry for her. I am glad that the state of Minneapolis is standing up, but I want to tell you, in the 90s, when immigration, because, here in the South, in Alabama, Mississippi, we've got the chicken house belt. We've got the tomato fields. We've got watermelons. When police were going in people's apartments in the middle of the night, yanking people, tearing their houses apart, treating them like they were drug dealers, and their kids screaming and crying, and we protested in the 90s to get this crap calmed down. And I called out on the TVs, all you people sitting in your living room watching this, get up, come here. These are not cattle going to a cattle mart. These are human beings that are they're putting money into our systems. They are paying taxes that they are not, and I will swear, if you sit here and say it's not true, they don't pay taxes. They do. You cannot work in the United States hardly anywhere anymore, especially in a chicken plant, and not get taxes taken out of your check. They have to, undocumented people, buy, and I hate telling you the news, buy somebody's legal Social Security card and their ID and go get an ID, and taxes get taken out. Women need to stand up in this country and stop sitting there being scared. This is what letting men in this country run everything and do everything happens, because
Agreed.
You've got these men up there. They do not care about us. You've had 400 years of institutionalized slavery, and now Mexico should have been our right hand and best friends. They should have been our best friends, because I'm telling you, I picked tomatoes 2 seasons. I worked in chicken house 15 years pulling guts, and the majority of YT people that go in there don't make it to the first break. They don't, because they're not going to work. They're not going to stand there because they know they can go home, draw benefits. And the majority of the people that were suffering when they wanted to crack down on people taking excuses from a doctor for 3 days were white people. When Mexican people did not want to miss, or undocumented people, if you want me to say it correctly, would not miss a day at work.
Valerie, you hit on, just real quick, because I got a lot of folks that want to come up today. I just want to give
I'll
you
drop
just
down.
an opportunity. It's okay. Just want to, if you want to just land your plane, if you want to just kind of summarize.
I just want to land it. It's time. If you didn't get it before he came into office that this was going to go down, well, you're fixing to get it when the hammer falls in this country. For those of you YT women that voted for him, he's not coming for you and your redneck, Bible thumping, front pew, wannabe Christian people. He's not coming for y'all in a helicopter. You're going down with the rest of us. Thank you.
Thanks for being here today. I appreciate you. Be safe out there. This was shared in our Discord chat from Stacy Patton. Thank you, AD, for sending me this. She's a writer, Black woman. I'm just going to read this. Deep sigh. Here we go again, y'all. Let the ritual begin. Did she comply? Was the car moving? How fast? At what angle? She tried to hit him. No, she didn't. Obey law enforcement. Don't make sudden moves. Follow instructions and you'll be fine. Folks keep replaying fragments of information about the Minneapolis ICE shooting as if the correct combination of obedience and posture might retroactively render Renee Nicole Good alive again. This is the language Americans have learned to speak when the state kills somebody. People talk like survival is a puzzle you solve correctly, like there's some precise choreography you must do to survive. Hands positioned like so, speed calibrated just right, tone sufficiently deferential. Folks really believe all that reliably protects civilians from armed agents of the state. The questions are a way of pretending that the outcome was avoidable if only the victim had performed citizenship more perfectly. If the killing can be explained as a failure of compliance, then everybody watching gets to feel safer. Folks can tell themselves, I would have done it differently, or I would have known better, or this won't happen to me. You don't know what the fuck you have done. Just stop. Because if you are confronted by sudden authority, masked, hulking men, weapons, shouting, chaos, and fear, the brain does not access some well-rehearsed civic instruction manual. It does not flip to the page labeled perfect compliance. The brain switches to survival mode. The brain's job is to keep the body safe, and so it scans for escape. It floods the body with adrenaline. Time distorts, sound narrows, fine motor skills degrade, judgment collapses into reflex. It tells your ass to run. This is basic biology. People love to imagine themselves as calm, rational, obedient avatars in these scenarios because it flatters their sense of control. But the truth is destabilizing. Under threat, humans freeze, flinch, misinterpret, move too fast, move too slow, hesitate, comply imperfectly, comply inconsistently, comply while still being read as dangerous. The very things people insist would have saved her, things like stillness, clarity, precision, and compliance, are often neurologically inaccessible in moments of terror. The brain's job is to not perform obedience correctly. It is to keep the body alive by any means it can, manage in the milliseconds that are available. That's why the compliance narrative is so fucking tired. It demands superhuman composure from civilians while excusing split-second lethal decisions from armed agents trained for force. It treats fear as evidence of guilt and instinct as intent, and it pretends that survival is a skill issue rather than a power issue. So when people say, I would have done it differently, what they're really saying is, I need to believe the system is predictable. Because if you accept that a person can follow instructions and still be killed, if you accept that panic is not controllable and obedience is not protective, then the ground gives way beneath you. Then safety stops being something you earn and starts being something that is arbitrarily granted or denied by the state. The questions are not about Good's actions. They are about audiences' fears, and they are a collective incantation against vulnerability. Because admitting that somebody can follow the rules and still die at the hands of the state is intolerable for a society that insists its violence is rational and earned and deserved. That is Stacey Patton, P-A-T-T-O-N. No notes. The expectation that, what was there for her to comply to? Seriously, what was there for her to comply to? And again, this is where the argument falls on the feet of the fascists in charge of our government. If compliance is the answer, then why did J6 happen? Right? Why? Why are we here? Why are we here saying that the person in the car, Renee Nicole Good, 37-year-old woman from Minneapolis who lives in the suburbs, who's raising a 6-year-old child, who has a wife, who's involved in her community, who has stuffed animals in her car. Why are we trying to say that she should have done something differently? Why is that the argument, that she should have done something differently? Not the armed thugs who murdered her in cold blood. Right? Not them. It's her. She's the one to blame. Women in our country are used to that. Under perfect conditions, they're always blamed. Doesn't matter what. We know that women are not believed. We know that women are responsible for getting raped. It's their fault. They should have known better. What were they wearing? They should have did you lead him on? You probably shouldn't have put yourself in that position, right? So what did she do wrong? Men wearing a mask after lies being told about the Minneapolis community, after people like Nancy fucking Mace, people like Nick Shirley, people like leadership in our administration sending armed thugs to the streets of Minneapolis because of fucking lies, because they're racist fucking bigots. What did she do? What did she do wrong? But here we are. As is the case pretty much every fucking day. People have to find ways to blame her or discredit her. The President of the United States, within hours of this woman being brutally murdered in cold fucking blood, called her a domestic terrorist. Yeah, that fucking tracks. Thank you to Feisty Bot. Again, women and immigrants are going to do women and immigrants are going to do carry this. I'm not sure what you mean by that post, but thank you for your contribution over on YouTube. I'm not even sure. A lot of guests today. We'll just focus on that. Christine, are you there? Christine, if you want to request again, I'll bring you right back up. It looks like you might have timed out. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing, please. I appreciate you all.
Good. Oh, hi. I must have tapped wrong. I'm sorry. But yeah.
It's okay.
What the heck is happening?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Let me introduce
That's
you.
Okay.
These are my birds.
That's okay. Did you have, what's on your mind?
I was trying to turn on my camera so you can save. I'm so pissed off. I saw Mishi yesterday and it was just so sad. And everything, the excuses, the immediate responses, it's just pathetic. It's pathetic and horrifying that they can just...
Okay, Mute. I'm going to have to drop you, friend. It's okay. I appreciate you. See you later. Take care. I again, sometimes it's when we talk about doing these, I know this show is important to me too. I know it's important to our community, and we all care a lot about it. And yes, it's difficult having these conversations sometimes, but our legacy media is failing survivors. It's just failing them under all circumstances. It's just failing them. Why when Kristi Noem was being interviewed, why were the reporters not saying, well, that's not what the video showed. The video showed, where is that? Where is just the fucking D- pushback? Where is it? Where is it? This is state-run media now. This is what we've got. Corporate media, consolidations, mergers and acquisitions under threat of losing licensing. This is what we get. This is what we get. So support your independent journalists that are out there. I don't care who they are. Make sure that you're holding them accountable. Make sure that you are fact-checking their fact checks. Make sure that you're not relying on just one side. The reason that I play sound from Fox is so that you all can hear what the opposition is saying. It's not a coincidence that Jesse Waters said she had pronouns in her bio. It's not a coincidence that he said that she's a lesbian woman. That's not a coincidence. It's not. It's intentional. It is absolutely intentional. They're doing it because their base needs to fucking hear it. Because their base, primarily white men who are loaded with fucking hatred, who are loaded with fucking bigotry, they need to hear it. They need to know that the video they watched yesterday of a woman being fucking murdered in the streets of Minneapolis was justified because she had pronouns in her name, in her bio, and that she was gay. So, you think I'm wrong? Why else would they do it? They know it works. They know it's effective. They are overwhelmed with fucking hatred. Overwhelmed by it. Overwhelmed by it. And they can't navigate through life without having more of their hatred just fed to them. So when the Fox talking heads gather, okay, this story looks bad. We're going to have to figure out a way to spin this. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure that we call her a domestic terrorist, even though she's not. We're going to create lies, even though the video clearly shows what's happening. We're going to create lies while they're, again, this is the model we've always joked, we joke about this in the past, right? Trump supporters would walk up to a pump, right? Donald Trump would tell them the gas was $1.98. They would walk up to their local gas pump and they'll say, and they'll pay $3.25 a gallon, and they'll say, Donald Trump, $1.98 for gas. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. Anybody can watch that video. If anybody can be objective, an independent voter. I mean, I don't even know who they are anymore. There's no way you could be objective and to look at that and explain it away other than saying she was murdered. So Fox in their pre-production meetings are like, all right, shit, how do we spin this? Oh, let's just go back to the old standards. Pronouns, we'll call her gay, and we'll throw out domestic terrorist terms, and we'll make up a whole bunch of fucking shit. And it works. Because where's the pushback? Where's the counter? Thank goodness there's people like Lawrence O'Donnell and others that are at least willing to do the work. Where's the fucking pushback? So instead, you get the statements that I played for you earlier that Kristi Noem said. And then there's this one too. And I'm going to play Bitch Boy for you in just a moment. Again, more questions of Kristi Noem. Here you go.
Called the claims of self-defense BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Again, the mayor of Minneapolis said the claims about self-defense were BS. And she said, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Really? Again, we looked at the fucking video.
BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this individual was harassing and impeding law enforcement operations.
Really?
Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation, and took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Secretary, can you expand too on the agent's injuries? The president said that he's lucky to be alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle.
He was not hit by the vehicle. He walked in front of the fucking thing. Okay, maybe he got brushed, but he walked away. Okay? Once again, let's look at the picture. Here he is, side of the vehicle. Here he is again, standing there firing into the vehicle. Here he is again. Where is it? This is him. This is him. He walked, after he fucking murdered her, he walked to the vehicle where his crony and fellow jackbooted thugs denied a physician to go check on her vital statistics or vital statistics. This piece of shit right here walked to the vehicle, put his mask back on, walked back to his car, got in and drove away. Again, those are the facts, not what Kristi Noem said.
He hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
Can you clarify whether he was hit before or after the gunshots were fired?
I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation and release more facts when it's appropriate.
Secretary Noem, has the agent been relieved of his duty, or can you give us any other?
No, we're following the standard protocol procedures we do in situations like this.
She brings up, somebody in the chat just made up a really good point. Why was he allowed to drive away? It's an officer-involved shooting. Why was he allowed to drive away? He wasn't taken away in an ambulance. He wasn't in such serious medical distress that he had to be rushed to the hospital. Why the fuck was he allowed to leave the scene? Oh, I know. It's because he fucking murdered her. And ICE wanted to get him out of there as quickly as fucking possible so that they could spin the fucking narrative, so that they could say this was in self-defense. No, he fucking murdered her. Period. That's the fucking story. That's the fucking story. There is no other way to spin it. There is no other way to spin it. Period. After he murdered her, he walked to the car to look at his work. This guy right here, then turned around and walked back for safety, protection from his fellow thugs, got in a car and drove away. Period. Period. Somebody sent me his picture. I'm not going to show it. Back to this.
This is the gap between what the video shows, what some local authorities have said, and how Noam just responded. She has made several statements today that don't match the evidence in the video that we have. The baseline here is a debate about whether this was lawful action. The government is trying to defend what the ICE agent did, but doing so in a manner that actually is straining credibility. This is not a story that's going to go away in a day or two. There is a legal process. We heard from the top law enforcement official of Minnesota tonight that they will also do a local investigation and try to figure out what happened and whether this was merited.
I want to address this comment. So, Buster, you say, you were not there. People are believing what they want. That's the fucking problem, Buster. Depending on where you get your news and how you've been conditioned and or indoctrinated, of course you're going to believe what you want. What we do here is we don't believe what we want. We believe what we see. And what we saw was cold-blooded murder at the hands of this guy on a suburban street in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm so glad you made that comment, because that's exactly the point. You were not there. People are believing what they want. Thank you for proving exactly the entire fucking point. You're going to see edited videos with a spun narrative. You're not going to see this video. You're not going to see this, because this video shows exactly what we all saw. The officer, this guy, Buster, this guy right here, is he under threat from the car? What's he doing? He's pointing a firearm into the cab of the car and murdering the driver. People want to believe what they want? What would you say this is? People want to believe what they want? What would you say this is? Masked thugs approaching a car? Again, what would you say this is? What would you say this is? People believe what they want? Is that just a sticker? Or would logic tell you that said thug was standing on the side of the vehicle, fired through the windshield, striking the woman in the face, and then moved to the side after the car was past her, as we can see here clearly, and then fired into the window? People want to believe what they want? How about just believing what actually fucking happened? How about that? That might be something that you might want to consider trying. Maybe try that. Maybe try that. Maybe try believing what you actually saw, not what you're told to believe. Good morning, friend. How are you?
Right there with you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of the place I'm coming from. One, I want to acknowledge all of the many Black women I see in the comments talking about how we've been warning you about this. We've tried to tell you. And, it's like, yeah, of course. And I do want to acknowledge that there is a larger outrage about this than I think a lot of Black women we've lost over the years to law enforcement, et cetera. So I do want to acknowledge that, yeah, we're absolutely putting a spotlight on this story in a different way. And I guess the other thing that I'm really up here to vent about is the fact that all said and done, ICE is becoming like the largest law enforcement agency in the country. We have an entire military. Right. And we have a military that's supposed to be nonpartisan. We have a military that's sole job is to protect the American people from domestic and foreign threat. And I am at a point where I'm like, I'm sorry, like I need them to draw lines in the sand right now. I need to see someone actually hold someone accountable, because inevitably I'm sick of watching we have to prove this, we have to prove this, we have to prove this, still not enough. No, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. And this is for everyone's benefit to have something happen here, to have accountability happen here. And it's just not, I mean, it's like, this to me is like, okay, can we please start the No Kings part 3? Can we please get to a point where we are generals striking, where we are finding larger, more significant ways to really hurt these people and to give the message to the military that, hello, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care if it was predominantly almost 60% Trump voter. I don't care. The point is you're supposed to remain nonpartisan. You're supposed to protect the American people. You're supposed to protect children. Do your job. I'm begging them.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw the start of the show, and I'm glad you said that. I started by saying today, this is a lived experience every day in America if you are in a marginalized community. No black or brown person needs to have some bearded white guy telling them what they experience every single day. I am absolutely sensitive to that. I would just like that stated. Like you said before, black women, every single fucking time that democracy is under threat, black women always step up and try to save us from ourselves. Where 100%. The fuck are white people? Where the fuck are white men? Where the fuck are white women?
Terrified cowards
where the fuck are white women calling out other white women? Right. This is what I'm talking about when I say do something. So I just want to make sure that, again, this is not meant anything other than I don't want a pat on the back. I just want people to know that I get it. I cannot speak from someone representing a marginalized community, but I will stand as an accomplice as long as I'm allowed. But this is something that happens every fucking day to black and brown people in our country. Every fucking day. Every day. Nothing new.
100%. So what do you say? Yeah, of course. So can we form a petition for the military or something? I mean, I'm being kind of facetious. I don't think that would be effective necessarily, but I mean, you know what I mean?
But again,
let's get there, people.
This is the whole do something thing, friend. There's no such thing as a bad idea these days. Yeah. No such thing.
I know. We need more done. We need men that are in high positions in, places of authority to actually implement that authority, and their wives. You know what I mean? We need it. But thank you so much for giving me the space. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. See you later. It's interesting because I'm watching the comments today, and I don't normally pay attention to them, but I think I was concerned, and you see more of the same. Which is why I think most of these people are trolls. Once again, believe your eyes. Just watch the video. Just watch it. Don't sit there and not watch the video and let someone tell you what the narrative is. Just watch it. Turn the sound down. Just watch it. And then go back and read what the president said. That this woman was a domestic terrorist? So is everybody now in opposition? Then sign me the fuck up. I'm Steve. Go live Monday through Friday, 8 till noon, every day on TikTok and YouTube and Twitch. Domestic terrorists here. Why? Because I can call out my fucking government? Why? Because I can call out thugs when I see them murdering people in cold blood on the streets of a U.S. city? Sure. Nothing to see here, though, right? Nothing to see here at all. Good morning,
Steve.
How are you?
Insanely and completely just, there's no word for it. Enraged would be one thing.
Yep.
I've worked crowd control probably about 1 billion times. And what happened in Minneapolis, you don't fire at a moving vehicle. There's a reason for it. Not just the fact that it's against the very guidelines that you read out. It's a safety hazard.
Did I miss anything there? Was I incorrect in anything that I read? Okay.
No, you weren't. But something that's emphasized to anybody that's ever, had crowd control where they're armed is that you never use your pew-pew on a moving vehicle, because if you actually do hit your target, that vehicle then becomes a rolling unalivement machine.
Like what happened yesterday.
Exactly. If she was going to claim that he was looking out for his safety and those of the ones around him, as soon as the first freedom seed was let loose, at a moving vehicle. He endangered everyone, his, fellow comrades in their brown shirts, everybody that was standing there filming it, and of course, the young lady who for no reason was considered to be a terrorist, and that man made himself the judge, jury, and executioner.
Correct. Did it surprise you? I don't know if you heard the clip that I played from Jesse Waters' Mother Hen, that he just conveniently included that she had pronouns in her bio, and that he conveniently said she had a lesbian partner. Did any of that surprise you?
Not at all. I mean, as a card-carrying elder gay, I can honestly say they will try to find any reason to demonize the LGBTQIA. There is literally in many of these social media applications that, if you choose to put your pronouns, whether you are part of the transgender community or not, you can do so. And since she had the rainbow, I'm imagining that she is within the LGBTQIA and has enough respect for her fellow human beings to make others comfortable. The fact that she was out there trying to ensure that immigrants were not being mistreated tells me that this was a good human being.
Yeah. In her mother's words, she was an amazing human being.
Her neighbors. I had somebody on my live yesterday who was witness to this. Okay, and was there on the scene. And all I can tell you is that if we don't start having Nuremberg 2.0, we've lost the plot. It's over.
Totally agree. I completely agree with you. And that would be my expectation, that the next administration, the gloves are fucking off. And these people will be dragged mercilessly in front of congressional hearings. They will be indicted. They will be charged. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has broken the law numerous times, as has Kristi Noem, as has Kash Patel. Now, my expectation is they will get pardoned, which will show exactly who they are. I want them dragged. I want them figuratively taken to the woodshed. Literally, maybe, but figuratively for the purposes of TikTok.
That would be great TV. But anyway, I love you, Facts. I'm not going to stay up here anymore. I just wanted to say hi. My name is Mother Hen. I'm here on TikTok and a bunch of other social media. Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, Pete Hegsworth, all of them. Fuck you. I am the radical scum. Have a great day.
I appreciate you, friend. See you later. Take care. Mother Hen's right. I mean, I want to go back to what I was just discussing. It's a simple ask, right? It's a really, really simple ask. Just look at the fucking video. That's all you have to do. Just look at it. So with that said, I just want to quickly go back to this again. These are the statements made by the Homeland Security after everything we've seen today, everything we've discussed, all the videos that I've shared with you, all the clips that I've showed, the images, the photographs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of guests in the box. I'll try to get to everybody before we end today. Friends, we're closing in on 1 million likes. It'd be great if we could do that. Appreciate y'all very, very much. All right. This is Kristi Noem asked about,
questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather.
Okay, let's talk the lies. Domestic terrorism, lie. Stuck in the snow, lie.
That is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their
adverse weather conditions, lie.
Vehicle, and a woman attacked them.
Attempting to push out their vehicle, lie. Woman attacked them, lie.
Surrounding them and attempted to run them over.
Lie. So she is 14 seconds into this clip, and she's lied 6 times already.
Rammed them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot.
Defensively? That's another lie.
To protect himself and the people around him.
To protect himself and the others around him? Why did no one else pull a firearm? Another lie.
and my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic
vehicle rammings.
Acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will.
So what about the officer, by the way? What about the officer, Christy, somebody who works for you that gets paid by taxpayer dollars that murdered her? Is he going to be held accountable? Really?
Continue to protect our ICE officers.
Enough. Unfucking believable. Just unfucking believable.
Hello.
Hi.
This did not even pop up the way it normally does. Usually it'll say you're going live in 3 seconds or whatever, but it did not. It just showed me in the window.
It's all weird these days.
Can we talk about the fact that we have a fucking president of the United States that will sit there and victim blame and lie about somebody who was just unalived simply because they disagree with his politics? That rhetoric from that platform is the reason I am so fucked up, because those hateful people believe whatever he says and then they start attacking the family of the victim. And I dealt with that shit for 3 years. So I feel extremely triggered right now, and I'm also so mad. How have we gotten to this place? And when are Americans gonna stand up and say, enough is enough? We have got to stop this somehow. That they're gonna keep doing this shit, and they're gonna keep doing it with qualified immunity. And even when it goes to court, if that guy is found guilty, if it had happened in Texas, he'd get pardoned. We know that. But they do. They just believe these lies. And there are people who loved her having to watch and listen to all of these discussions, and these stupid MAGA people in your comment section earlier. I about lost my mind saying fuck around and find out. Really? She didn't do a damn thing wrong. All she tried to do is get away from a guy who was trying to violently open her car door. What would have happened to her if she had let him get into her car? Did you see the way he approached her? So aggressively? Any woman in her right mind would drive away from that. And these people don't think. Nobody has the ability to critically think anymore on that side of the aisle. And I just don't know what's wrong with these people that they would applaud something like this. But yeah, I'm like shaking right now because it's been my life story for the past 5 years.
I know.
This administration will just condone and applaud and approve any attack on their political enemy. And it's absolutely disgusting. And I can't believe we've let ourselves get here as a country. I cannot believe this is our reality. Sorry, I just wanted to vent for a bit. I won't take much of your time. I've got to...
It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
Okay. I'll talk to you later, Steve. Thanks.
I love you, friend. See you later.
I love you too.
She has real world experience with this shit. She's right. You know, and it's interesting because for lack of a better term, you just watch the comments scroll by and people are just celebrating it. Like they're just cheering. Like you get FAFO with a smiley face. So this is Mike Johnson. And again, I just, the spin that they are putting on this, because they know they need to feed their base something other than what actually happened. So this is Mike Johnson being cornered.
I just saw the disturbing video. Obviously, it's a serious situation. There's going to be a full investigation, as we all know and expect. But it appears to us, it appears to, I guess, anybody who sees the video.
So again, he says it appears to us and appears to anybody who has seen the video. That's what he said, okay? It appears to us and anybody who has seen the video. He is saying that intentionally. He is saying that to a targeted audience of people that he does not want to see the video. So basically, don't worry, I'm doing the work for you. There's nothing for you to see here. So let's play this from the top. Motherfucker. I hate this piece of shit.
I just saw the disturbing video. Obviously, it's a serious situation. There's going to be a full investigation, as we all know and expect. But it appears to us, it appears to, I guess, anybody who sees the video from certain angles that the driver of the vehicle weaponized that vehicle against...
The driver of the vehicle weaponized the vehicle against ICE agents? Again. Are you kidding me?
Law enforcement officers and against bystanders. It was a dangerous situation.
There were no bystanders. There were no one standing around. No one was under threat.
Snap judgments in those situations, and it's a really sad outcome. Look, I do think that it's right. I think maybe it was Homeland or someone put out a statement that this clearly appears to be the result of this just months-long rhetoric against law enforcement and people encouraging that kind of violence. And so we call upon all the citizens of Minneapolis to be calm. We don't want...
You motherfucker. You fucking piece of shit. You're calling on Minneapolis residents to be calm? Tell you what, Mike, why don't you get on the phone, you pathetic fuck, and call your bitch boy, you call your little orange king and say, sir, we should probably get ICE agents out of Minneapolis so this won't happen again. You're expecting people in Minnesota to just suddenly be like, yeah, we're good. Nothing to see here. We're fine. Don't worry. We're not angry that one of our citizens was just fucking murdered in cold blood. But fine. We'll just calm down.
Anyone to be hurt, we need law enforcement to be able to do their jobs, and it's a terrible situation. But we wait.
It is unbelievable, the fucking gaslighting. We literally watched it fucking happen in real time while we saw the video live. Like I said earlier, hi Victoria, like I said earlier, don't let someone tell you what to think. Just look at the fucking video. Good morning.
Good morning. Exactly. Look at the video. Our government is currently trying to gaslight us. The media is trying to gaslight us into what we saw. This is your reminder. There are two reminders for today. One, if you're not calling your congressional members today, you should be, because the ACA vote for an extension, it is a clean CR, is going up for a vote today. Please, 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 if you have the time, call, email, do the thing. Second, with this situation, if you want to see accountability at a federal level, we have to vote blue down ballot and send an enema through the system. Right now, we cannot trust the Republican Party at all to hold accountability for their party. And, you know, I know there's a lot of never, you know, don't vote blue, you know, whatever. We are in a two-party system. If you can't see the difference between the Republican Party right now and the Democratic Party, I can't help you. This is unacceptable, and we have to impeach, convict, remove. The only way we can do that is if we have a blue wave in 2026. That is the only way we're going to get accountability. So please,
can you
for
drive
the love
for a
of,
second?
I can drive, yes.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So for the love of God, please vote in 2026. If you think that it is not vital that you vote in every single down ballot election, please understand that some of these local and state elections are small margins in order to flip these seats. Small margins. If you want to see accountability, you have to do this all the way down ballot, because we have states like Tennessee, the state I live in, who have laws on the books that negatively affect immigrants in our state. So please, for the love of God. And if you want to vote red, because I see the comments coming through, you vote red. You vote for the criminals, sweeties. You do that, little fella. And I'm going to pat you on the head and say that you support, pedophiles, and you support, bad things. And I love that for you, because it tells us exactly who you are, brown shirt. It tells us. And let's speak to the brown shirts for just a second. We all are going to keep an eye on who you are. We all know who the brown shirts are. If your family are brown shirts, whatever, this is the time to call them out. Hold the line. The more people that we have hold this line, the better. We have some brown shirts in the comments, Steve.
Shocker.
Yeah. Oh, William's here. My current little fascist. I love to tend to my little fascist.
You mentioned the ACA. I meant to talk about that. Yeah, there was a vote yesterday on the floor of the House where 9 Republicans joined Democrats to extend the ACA subsidies for 3 years. It's not going to pass the Senate. We know that. And the president's not going to sign it into law. We know that too, sadly. But that just goes to show you. And by the way, those 9 people represent swing districts, purely political, so that they can go back to the districts and say, hey, I voted for your health care. No, you didn't. You voted to keep your fucking job. Miss me with your bullshit.
What are brown shirts? They're schnazis.
Yeah,
that's what brown shirts
Nazis.
Are. Yeah,
Full-on
you
Nazis.
couldn't. So let's do some history lessons for the people here. The reason that we were in this position is because we did not put the South in their place after the Civil War. That's the reason we're here, and that is the reason that we have this open, schnazi in our country, because we actually gave them the ideas. We are to blame for what happened in Germany. Period. End of story. And if that hurts you in your fifis, I don't care, because what happened at post-World War II, you couldn't find a schnazi if you tried hard enough. And that's what's going to happen here too, because these people are going to try and hide, and we do not allow them to hide. If we want to stop this going forward, if we want to stop history in its tracks, hold every single brown shirt accountable. That includes your family members who would happily turn you over to the brown shirts because you decide to hide a family. This is how we have to do this. We have to stop playing like they're playing by the same rules. These people are violent. They do not care. They are inhumane. And the only way to hold them accountable is to do an enema all the way up. Clear this system out. Clear the shit out, if you will.
Well said. I appreciate you very, very much. You want to plug?
Thank you. Yeah, guys, I'm Victoria Broderick. I'm running for Congress in Tennessee's District 4. If you want to see people like me in office pushing back against the administration, pushing back against the status quo, then I need donations. I need your vote. I need your support. We can move the needle. If I learned anything from the 2024 election, where I ran my first congressional race, is we can move this needle. I am a working class mom. I worked full time, ran a congressional campaign over 5 months, raised over $120,000. I am a progressive woman, and I moved the needle here in Tennessee. If you want to see more of that, support candidates like me, donate your time, donate your money, and stay hydrated and vote blue.
I appreciate you, friend. Be safe out there. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Somebody just asked about, we've got the script. I wrote this, mentioned it. I'll read it again in case anybody's interested. There's a script if you want to reach out to your senators and representatives. It is in the Discord. There's a section, it's called to action. You can find it in the do something section. Hello, my name is, I'm a constituent and a U.S. citizen calling to express deep concern about a serious incident reported in Minneapolis on January the 7th, 2025, involving the death of Renee Nicole Good and the alleged involvement of an ICE agent. I want to be very clear. After reviewing the disturbing video of the incident, I am calling because any allegation of the lethal force by a federal law enforcement officer demands immediate, independent oversight. This case raises urgent questions about the conduct and accountability of federal agents, whether body camera footage, reports, and chain of command actions are being preserved, and whether the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are being independently investigated and not policing themselves. I am asking said representative, either your representative or your senator, to do 3 things. 1, publicly call for an independent investigation into the incident. 2, demand transparency from DHS and ICE, including the release of all relevant records. And 3, support congressional oversight or hearings if warranted by the facts. No federal agency should be above scrutiny, especially when a civilian has lost their life. Please let said representative or senator, know that I expect accountability, transparency, and respect for due process for the victim, for the family, and the public. Thank you for your time. That is a script. If you want to use it, you want to call 202-224-3121. We also have a simpler version too. Please, these are the kinds of things, this is something that we all can do. Doesn't take you any time at all. It's about a 35-second read. Tops. I talk fast. But it's in there. There's no reason you can't. No, she didn't try to run him over, Aaron. No. 2025. Yeah, you're right. January. Change the script. My bad. I did say 2025. There you go. Sam, I know you put that script in there, but you might want to change that date. That's my bad. I forgot that. It is in our Discord. Good call out. A lot of proofreaders in here. I love you all. And by the way, again, I want to add this. I've read a lot of the language as it relates to the Department of Justice's rule for use of force. Well, DHS has one too, and this is what it says. Hold on. It says DHS LEOs. So LEOs would be law enforcement officers under DHS. DHS LEOs should seek to, this is under use of safe tactics, should seek to employ tactics and techniques that effectively bring an incident under control while promoting the safety of LEOs and the public, and that minimize the risk of unintended injury or serious property damage. DHS LEOs should also avoid intentionally and unreasonably placing themselves in positions in which they have no alternative to using deadly force. So if the argument is this person attempted to run over said LEO with their vehicle, well, the LEO in this case violated their own rules by entering the scene from the right. He came across the front of the vehicle to the left, and then we know what happened. So again, miss me with your bullshit. All of it. Exactly, Lee. Like walking in front of a vehicle. If you went through your training, like Christy Nome said, then you would know not to do that. Yeah, exactly. We did watch the videos, like girl. You're right. Daisy May, how are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm, I guess, not well.
Yeah, fair.
This is me standing up for, being a white woman, calling out another white woman. Nancy Mace raged in Congress for how long about how much fraud is enough? Rick Scott, his company, $1.7 billion in Medicare fraud. They elected him as governor, senator. Can we denaturalize him? Can we denaturalize Trump, who has 34 felonies for fraud?
Correct.
And that's our rhetoric. It's, the immigrants are the problem. And so we've deputized a thug force with little training to run around in anonymity. They're masked. Nobody calls them to account to do the things that they did and then lie about it.
That's an exceptional point. The lie is the point, right? Because we, as you know, I played the clip from Christy Nome, and she told 10 lies in 35 seconds. From the snow, they were stuck, adverse weather, domestic terrorists, blah, fucking blah.
And that's like less than 24 hours after Trump posted a revisionist history timeline.
Correct.
And there's the big difference between Ashley Babbitt and Renee Good is that Renee was fleeing law enforcement with a firearm, and Ashley Babbitt pushed forward towards it.
Correct. Exactly. With a knife. She was armed. Yes.
So the letters, I could write to my Congress people all I want, and they're just, what's the point of hiding the body cam footage if they believe this was justified? And
exactly. Full transparency, full investigation. Exactly.
So
you're right.
Yeah, it's just, it's sad all around to just listen to like the megas in the comments or up on other lives justifying this less than 24 hours after martyrizing Ashley Babbitt.
Correct. Thank you for jumping in, Daisy.
So thank you for everything that you do, Steve.
You got it. Have a good day. Be safe out there. I just want to take a moment just to send extra love to my amazing mod team. You guys know how I feel about them, but they have been busting their ass today to try to keep the chat as compliant as possible. So hearts in the chat for the best mods on TikTok. I'll fight you. I mean it because it's true. But hearts in the chat for them because of the work that they're doing, not only here, but on YouTube, but on Twitch, in Discord, all of it. They're incredible. They keep me sane. They really do. All right, a few more things here. We can't continue to just. I'm not sure how I want to say this, but it has become. You owe us maple syrup. I do. You're absolutely right. I'll drizzle it. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not going there anyway. It's become normalized because we've let it become normalized, right? Every single day there is just more gaslighting and more gaslighting and more lies and more blatant corruption that comes from the administration. And where is the resistance? Where is it? There's no resistance in Congress. We're starting to see it a little bit. So with that being said, I always like to identify those people in Congress that are doing the work, or at least attempting to do so. I want you to hear from Summer Lee, because she was, I think it was the same committee hearing that I just played sound from you before, where James Comer was trying to push back against Ayanna Pressley and her motion to demand transparency in all records and all camera footage and all body cam footage from what happened in Minneapolis. So here's a little sound from that same committee hearing, and you're going to hear Summer Lee go right after James Comer.
Failed. No, you all continue to fail. We've done nothing. You have the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change. You have power here, and yet you don't do anything. Yes, he actually initiated this, sir, but thank you so much for your opinion. This hearing is not an effort by Republicans to improve social service programs. It's an excuse to end them and to punish Democratic-led states. This has always been the plan. It's why Republicans' so-called big, beautiful bill is estimated to cut more than $1 trillion from Medicaid and CHIP benefits and cut SNAP for 40 million people, the very children or folks with disabilities who were mentioned in the opening statements. Trump has also already taken advantage of the situation in Minnesota. After a YouTuber harassed and posted unsubstantiated claims of fraud against child care centers, HHS froze child care funding to Minnesota, which would affect more than 23,000 children. Just yesterday, Trump also froze approximately $10 billion in funding for programs supporting child care, social services, grants, and cash assistance in not only Minnesota, but in other Democratic-led states of California, Colorado, New York, and Illinois. No matter what party we're elected to, we represent the people of our district, Democrat or Republican. We represent as the federal government all people of all states, irrespective of how they voted. That's a charge that I took, and I would like and hope that you all would do the same. When so many of these social service programs are being gutted and defunded, fraud becomes even more harmful, as that means even less money is going to people who need it. People need these programs. This situation should be an opportunity to take a deep look at the programs and improve their oversight abilities, not an excuse to cut them entirely. If we care about the most vulnerable, if we care about the most marginalized, this is an opportunity to do so, and I welcome us to actually do that one day.
Ms. Lee, the IGs are hired to identify fraud. They haven't identified fraud. The IGs have failed. But anyway,
you all have failed. No, you all continue to fail. We've done nothing. You have the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change. You have power here, and yet you don't do anything. Yes, he actually initiated this, sir, but thank you so much for your opinion.
Summer Lee, ladies and gentlemen. And I would just like to use this moment to remind people that the Republican Party controls the entire government. The House, the Senate, the White House, the court. If the Republican Party was interested in legislating to defend families in our country, then why aren't they? Why is HHS cutting funding for child care programs? Why did the president just yesterday say, I'm going to deny billions of dollars in funding to support child care programs? Oh, what a coincidence. They're all in blue states. What a fucking coincidence. And James Comer has the audacity to sit there and say, you guys are to blame. This is what you wanted, MAGA. You wanted to be in control of government. So all of this shit lands right on your fucking plate. I want to thank a couple people real quick. Thank you to Jennifer. Thank you so very much. You're very kind. I appreciate you. Speaking out and speaking up. R.I.P. Renee Nicole Good. We will fight for you. Yes, indeed. Excuse me. Yes, indeed, we will. Also, thank you to Lisa and to Tom. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate your support for what we do here. Thank you guys. And thank you for helping us get to 1 million likes today, friends. That's very rare in our little world here, but appreciate you all very, very much for that. Hey, Drew.
Hey, Steve. How are you this morning, buddy?
I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm struggling, Mike. We had to put down one of our dogs yesterday. She had cancer. And it was just her time.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So then come home to all this.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to thank you for pointing out a major factor of all of this that's been going on for years, ever since, even before Trump took office, but the dehumanization of people. You know, you pointed out the fact that they had to say, oh, well, she had pronouns on her bio. Oh, she said she was a lesbian. Oh, who cares? She's a human being. You know, we for years we had this argument with the MAGA that, oh, they're just going after criminals. Okay, what does a criminal look like? What is a criminal? Are they black? Are they white? Are they brown? Are they yellow? What are they? What is a criminal? They use this language so that we don't feel anything from people. Oh, they're just migrants. They're not important. They're just migrants. They use our LGBTQI brothers. They use them and say, oh, that's it. They must be mentally, something's wrong with them. It's the same playbook that we saw in the 1930s. The same exact playbook. If you don't think someone's human, then you will allow anything to happen to them. And that's what's going on. And you and I could take this situation that's happening that we're discussing today and look at it in a completely objective manner. Okay? We could take it and let's pretend like all this was Tim Walz standing there in that square directing these guys what to do. We would still look at it the same way. We would look at it and say, this is what happened and this is what's wrong. A normal civilization would not look at a masked, unknown officer of the law and think that's okay. I mean, that alone should be, this guy, his right to not being doxxed is more important than his accountability? Give me a break. In a functioning society, we would know who this person was, what their badge number is, what their responsibility is, because that's what they're out there to do. They're out there to protect people, not to do what they did yesterday.
You're right. I mean, I don't want this to ever get lost in these conversations about the intent. The intent has always been to dehumanize. You know, in our country, unless you are a white, cis, hetero Christian male, you are othered, right? Which is part of why I constantly say that if you have your privilege, and I should say white men in particular, because you are at the pinnacle. This system was built by you, or built by you for you to protect you. So why not fucking use it? Where the fuck are you, white men? Where the fuck are you? I am so fucking tired of the pearl clutching from a lot of you who say you stand for the same things we do. Where the fuck are you now? Why is it that when we look to the protests in Minneapolis, you know what we see? We see a lot of persons of color, shockingly. We see a lot of members of marginalized communities that are out there. Those are the ones that always show up. Where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are white women? Where the fuck are white men? I have to say it on the collective because it is our problem as a white community. It is our fucking problem.
And
she did not ask for this. Yeah. No marginalized community ever asked for this. We're the ones that are doing it. Stop making excuses for it and do something about it.
And here's the fact that people refuse to think about, Steve. Yes, you might be involved in a gang-related robbery or something like that. You will, that's no more than might, you will be impacted by the crimes that Trump and the folks underneath him are committing every day. All of us are going to be impacted by that. And it has to stop. It has to stop immediately. Also, this is one South Carolinian who is not voting for Nancy Mace. I just want you to know that.
Good to know. Appreciate that. I figured I could count on. I figured I could count on you for that, bro. You too.
I'm at least one. If you see it, if you see there's only one against her, that was me.
That's fair. I'm sorry about your dog. I appreciate you, friend.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, take care. I'm just, we go through these. I've said this before, the people who don't think what people say are racist are likely racist. People who support what Nancy Mace says about the trans community are transphobic, are hateful. People who deny the existence of white supremacy are likely white supremacists. That's how it used to be. Now it's people are just outwardly proud about being fascist. People bragging about it. I've seen people with that in their profile. They have to change the spelling so that they don't get clapped. So the question is, when history looks back, how are you individually going to be remembered? Are you someone who talked a good game? Are you someone who said, yeah, that shit sucks, how fucking horrible, and then went about your day? Or are you going to be remembered for figurative, maybe even literal bloody knuckles? Are you willing to put yourself in harm's way? Are you willing to stand between people who are marginalized in our country, who are under threat every single fucking day by white people? Are you going to stand between them and harm? I've done that hundreds of times in my life. I'm not suggesting that you do it, especially if you're marginalized. But white dudes, why the fuck can't you do it? Like, what is stopping you from doing it? I want you to be angry. I want you to be sick to your stomach. I want you to be so fucking pissed that you might lose it for a few minutes. I want you to look around and say, all these things that I claim to care about, all these things that I talk about, things that I write about, like I watch Steve and he talks about, how we've got, rich people taking advantage of us and ripping off our society, and then the live ends, and then you go about your business. No, the live ends at noon, but life continues. And there will be more attacks on innocent people in our country. Tell me what she did wrong. Tell me what she did wrong. And the problem is that the right will find a way. Just in the statements we got just this morning, the reason that I played that sound from Jesse Waters is because I knew that's where they were going to go. Prime the fucking pump. She had pronouns in her bio, and she had a lesbian wife. Who the fuck cares? Oh, I know who cares. Your watchers care. Your viewers care. So that they can have somebody else to hate. It's got to be her. It's got to be the pronounced poet who's a lesbian, not the masked thug who murdered her in cold blood. Yeah, that tracks. That fucking tracks. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, by the way, we'll talk about Gavin Newsom in a moment. Somebody just made a comment that reminded me of that. Hi, Meg. How you doing? Meg, are you there? Meg?
Oh my God, no, I'm so sorry. You're in my pocket. I'm at work. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Progressive in your pocket. See you later. Take care. No problem. Just happy to be there. You need more gum. Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Angry like me.
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that she was literally waving them to go by her. Because she had let another car go by, and she had her arm out and she was waving for them to go by her when they stopped instead and got out of their vehicle and aggressively approached her.
Correct.
I would have done the exact same thing she did. I would have gotten scared.
Of course.
I would have been terrified. I'm tiny. I have arthritis. I have scoliosis. They would have been able to hurt me really bad. If they even grabbed my left arm, they would have destroyed my shoulder.
Of course.
I would have drove away. Like she tried to do.
Exactly. He was yanking at her door. I mean, all kinds of shit. Like, all of it. I'm with you.
And she had been asked to move her vehicle by ICE. It was in front of her house. She was trying to move her vehicle for them. And they killed her.
Correct.
It just makes me sick.
I know. I'm with you. I appreciate you saying that. Protect your peace. Okay. Thanks for being here.
You too. Thank you.
All right. See you later. Again, it brings up an interesting point, and sort of it's been kind of a running theme all day, is that women in our country are always under threat. Constantly. Every fucking day. Every day. So MAGA's response to this now is that this woman being approached, sitting in her car, right? Two men pull up in their truck, jump out, masked thugs, all jacked up, with their bulletproof vests on, sidearms, approach her vehicle aggressively, screaming at her, swearing at her, pulling at her door. And what's she supposed to do? Just sit there? And then she'll get dragged out, beat up? We know that that's happened. We know what the news tells us. We have reports. We even have DHS's own information about these claims. Do you think anybody in our country wants to be put into ICE custody, considering what they've done? As a reminder, just as a reminder, 41 credible reports of physical sexual abuse of individuals in detention, 14 reports of mistreatment of pregnant women, and 18 reports of mistreatment of children in ICE, HHS, and BOP custody. And the single biggest number, this is the total, 32 recorded deaths in ICE detention centers this year, the highest in over 2 decades. Are we supposed to just ignore that? Are we supposed to just let that slide? Hey, Shane.
How we doing, Steve? Forgive me, I got a little bit of background noise. So, first and foremost, one of the narratives that's being pushed by MAGA and right wing is that they keep saying law enforcement. ICE is not law enforcement. They are immigration customs enforcement. If it doesn't pertain,
I looked it up. Though they are,
hold on. They do have the ability to detain an American citizen.
Shane, take a deep breath. Okay, thank you. Technically, they are law enforcement, but it is limited to what they can patrol and police, and it's about immigration. Okay,
that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Specifically, though, the other thing that I want to point out is the complete and utter lack of unprofessional safety training that they have, and the fact that people should go look up Padilla, Senator Padilla, and look at his stories, because he specifically lays out how ICE has negotiated and contracted with hardened J6ers and known nationalists. They are
Correct.
doing this on purpose. They are literally entrusting and hiring the Gravy SEALs. All these guys with aggressive disorders and anger issues, they're literally putting them at the front because they want this to happen. And I want to tell, I just want to say this to my friends out there that are the men. You can be strong, but do not act in the same manner that they do. Do not counter with the same actions that they do. And I'm saying it vaguely like this so that it doesn't come across as anything else, but they want that reaction. They want us to fight back in their manner, and they want it so they can counter it with all of the detriment.
Yeah, I agree. I see people talking about martial law, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But you're right. But again, I just want to be clarified that yes, they are technically in our system. They are law enforcement, but their limitations are immigration and customs enforcement, narco trafficking, transnational gangs, things like that. Not what they did yesterday. Not what they did yesterday. Thanks for jumping in today, bro. I appreciate you.
All right.
Talk to you later. Again, I just want to take a moment just to revisit what the law is. I think it's really, really important. So when you guys are out talking to people today, or if you're out in the streets, or if you're listening to a live, you can cite DOJ 1-16.200. It's the use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. This is the law that governs federal use of force. Deadly force may not be... Let me back up. Law enforcement and correctional officers of the DOJ may use deadly force only when necessary. That is, when the officer has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. Deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle. It is Department of Justice Policy 1-16.200, use of deadly force and prohibited restraint techniques. Okay? And I mentioned this one earlier. This is from the DHS's own rules, which is LEO, LEO, which are law enforcement officers under DHS. Use of safe tactics. DHS LEOs should seek to employ tactics and techniques that effectively bring an incident under control while promoting the safety of LEOs and the public, and to minimize the risk of unintended injury or serious property damage. DHS LEOs should also avoid intentionally and unreasonably placing themselves in positions in which they have no alternative to use deadly force. Kristi Noem said they were all trained. That's the training that they go through. Why then did he walk in front of the vehicle? And from my perspective, doesn't even matter if he did. She was obviously not trying to run him over. But that's what the president wants you to believe. Period. That's what they want you to believe. Good morning, Mosquito. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, guy?
Fine. How are you?
I am doing well. Doing very well this morning. Hopefully I don't try to run over any ICE agents, and I shall be okay today.
You see? People think it's funny. People just think it's funny. I think they're scoring points. People just think they're just going to laugh about it. And you're going to see, I've already seen it. I've already seen people with backgrounds painting her face as if she were a clown. That's what they do. That's who they are. That's what matters to them, trying to score points and laugh about it. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Hey, Steve, how's it going? I have a question.
Going all right, bro.
Yeah. Maybe something that nobody else observed, but I just don't see anybody talking about after the incident, the officer walked away, got in the car, and left.
Correct. Yeah, we brought that up earlier. Yep.
Okay, I missed that part.
Why would he be allowed to leave? So why would he be allowed to leave? Right?
It doesn't make any sense.
He's involved in a shooting. Why would he be allowed to leave?
Right. I have a CPL, and in the limited training they taught us, we're taught that you're responsible for every round, and if anything happens, you stay there. You don't leave. And then immediately saying it was self-defense, oof, it had me fired up. I called Alyssa Slotkin immediately.
Good. I'm glad. No, you're right. I mean, he walked away, clearly was uninjured. Not only did he walk away, he walked to the car that crashed because he murdered the driver just moments before, and then walked back, was calling for 911 while they were denying a doctor who was on the scene to actually attend to the victim to see what had happened, take her pulse, et cetera, et cetera. Not only did he walk to the car, he walked back to another vehicle, got in, and drove away.
Pretty good.
Why would they allow that to happen? Exactly. Thanks for jumping in, Tommy. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate you, Steve.
You got it. See you later. I mean, once again, just the comments alone today. And again, thank you to the mods for policing all this shit. He literally broke every protocol. Not only did he completely go against his training, the manual, the by the book training. So when Christine Ohm said that he followed his training, no, he didn't. No, he did not. You either suck at training, you gave him a different training manual that you publish, or, okay. Thank you, Jess. Hold on. Let's see. The FBI informed the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans. The FBI informed the BCA that the U.S. Attorney's Office had reversed course. The investigation would now be led solely by the FBI, and the BCA would no longer have access to the case materials, scene evidence, or investigative interviews necessary to complete a thorough and independent investigation. Of course not. Without complete access to the evidence, witnesses, and information collected, we cannot meet the investigative standards that Minnesota law and the public demands. As a result, the BCA has reluctantly withdrawn from the investigation. The BCA Force Investigations Unit was designed to ensure consistency, accountability, and public confidence, none of which can be achieved without full cooperation and jurisdictional clarity. Well, there you go. There you go. So the FBI, our FBI, is going to be the ones leading this investigation. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension was notified that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement personnel were involved in a shooting in Minneapolis that resulted in a woman's death. That morning, after consultation with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the FBI, it was decided that the BCA Force Investigations Unit would conduct a joint investigation with the FBI. The BCA responded promptly to the scene and began coordinating investigative work in good faith. Later that afternoon, the FBI informed the BCA the U.S. Attorney's Office had reversed course. The investigation would now be led solely by the FBI, and the BCA would no longer have access to the case materials. Man. Case materials, scene evidence, or investigative interviews necessary to complete a thorough and independent investigation. Without complete access to the evidence, witnesses, and information collected, we cannot meet the investigative standards that Minnesota law and public demands. As a result, the BCA has reluctantly withdrawn from the investigation. The BCA Force Investigations Unit was designed to ensure consistency, accountability, and public confidence, none of which can be achieved without full cooperation and jurisdictional clarity. The BCA Force Investigation Unit was created in 2020 by the legislature to provide an independent, consistent, and trusted mechanism for investigating use of force incidences involving law enforcement officers. This unit is the result of years of scrutiny, public engagement, and bipartisan legislative action following the Deadly Force Encounters Working Group. Minnesotans made it clear that they expect a transparent and thorough process when a peace officer uses deadly force in our state. And the BCA has earned their trust by delivering on that expectation. We expect the FBI to conduct a thorough and complete investigation, and that the full investigative file will be shared with the appropriate prosecutorial authorities at both the state and federal levels. The BCA remains fully committed to our partnerships to build public trust and use of deadly force investigations. If the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI were to reconsider this approach and express a willingness to resume a joint investigation, the BCA is prepared to re-engage in support of our shared goal of public safety in Minnesota. Why the fuck are they backing out? First of all. Second of all, makes it very, very clear that the BCA was going to get caught out by the FBI. Why would the FBI not want this investigated? Why? Why? Why would the FBI not want this investigated? It almost seems like they're covering something up, doesn't it? Almost. Maybe they don't want the truth to get out. What are they hiding? See, we're left to draw our own conclusions now, aren't we? Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. One cover up after another. It's unbelievable. It is so messed up. For the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans to make that statement, the FBI basically said, we're not going to give you this information. We're not going to include you. We're not going to share all this information with you. Nice. Fabulous. It's fucking great. This is transparency. This is the most transparent administration in U.S. history. Hey, Renee, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Hanging in there, I guess.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I just need some clarification. And I heard you play it earlier this morning, the actual tape of the doctor asking to give help, right? To check for pulse. So I had a conversation with a friend last night, and they were saying, well, maybe they denied the doctor because they already knew she was unalived. So my question is, did any of the ICE agents, prior to the doctor asking to help, did they go over and check her pulse? Do we know that?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Don't know
Okay.
that. Don't know that. The claim that they made in the sound that I played was that they already had medics on the scene. But it does not look like anybody attended her from a medical perspective. It looks like they were looking for proof of life or whatever else, but it doesn't seem like they had any medical professionals on the scene.
They did not have any medical professionals on the scene.
That's what it seemed like. They said that they did, but it doesn't seem like anybody was there to treat her.
Okay. When that video clip, because I was listening to it and I'm like, what? Yeah, so, okay. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. That was my question. And thanks for doing this today. Thanks.
You got it. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Take care.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my interpretation. I don't know if that's relevant, but why would you a physician's there? Why would you deny him? Is it Fuzzy Bunny? I guess not. Okay. A couple more, I guess, in the box. I'll try to get to everybody today, and then we'll call it. It's okay, Fuzzy, no problem. Hi, Liz. How are you?
Hi there. I'm calling from the UK. I don't really understand what is going on in America at the moment. It's just crazy.
Neither do I.
If this happened in our country, we would be calling for the Prime Minister to be out there would be, it just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't go this far. We got rid of like Boris, and after COVID, because of all his mess ups, we've got rid of other people and called general elections, asked for. I just don't understand this.
We don't either, Liz. We don't either. That's the point. I think the American the voting population, the electorate has gotten lazy, entitled, and apathetic, and this is what we've got.
Yeah, it's just like, and with this woman, like, if the police done that, they have to stay on site. They have to, like, someone's not pronounced dead until like someone's come out and like a doctor's verified it. And I don't know how it works in America, but like, I don't understand why, like, everyone that's on site, like when you're on a plane, any person that's medical has to go and help. You know, it's part of their, like, I don't know,
exactly.
Not laws, but like
it works the same way here. Like that's the question that I had when I saw him drive away. Why would he be allowed to leave? I mean, there was literally an incident where someone was just unalived. You would not be allowed to leave the scene if you're a cop, a regular beat patrol officer. You're not allowed to leave the scene. You know, what did someone tell him? You better run now, dude. This looks bad. Again, why was he allowed to leave?
Yeah,
it leads to questions.
That shouldn't have.
I agree.
Yeah,
thanks for jumping in. Thanks for jumping in today, Liz. I got a few other folks I want to try to get to before we end the show today, but thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank
be
you.
safe out there.
Thank you. Bye.
You got it. Take care. That's the question we all should be asking, right? We should all be asking that question. Why was he allowed to leave? Hey, Benny. It's been a minute.
Hey, Steve. Sorry, I gotta put the phone down. I'm fucking shaking here. Jesus. Okay, two things. Two things I want to get to. First thing is, I think we need to stop with her children are orphans, because she left behind not just children, she left behind her partner. We don't know what her exact orientation was, whether she was lesbian, bisexual. She's queer. She's a queer woman, right? So we don't want to say her children were left to be orphans, because then that's playing into queer erasure. Like, let's not start that can of worms.
I think where that comment came from is that her 6-year-old's father passed away in 2023. So that child no longer has any biological parents.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, let's not play into any queer erasure. That's just stuff the right's pushing.
That's fair.
Let's not bother with it. Right.
That's totally fair.
At the end of the day, she left behind kids and a partner. She left behind family, right?
She did indeed.
The second thing that I have to get into is I need to call out the Caucasians, the white people, because I myself am white. Shocker, I know. You could tell by my face. But I have been hearing from so many who are like, white men, white women. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to speak up. Oh, I'm so afraid for my children. Oh, I could lose my job. Oh, they're going to come for me. They're going to come for you if you do nothing. So would you rather be remembered for somebody that stood up and said no, or the coward who did nothing? Because I'm white. I might not identify as a man, but I'm male presenting. I'm still doing stuff like, my God, I'm queer, I'm fat, I'm disabled, my body is riddled with arthritis. I wake up in agonizing pain every day, and I still get the fuck up, and I do something. I use my privilege. I'm doing everything that I fucking can. What the fuck is your excuse? I don't want to hear that shit. Get up. Do something. Do something. Because what happened here in Minnesota, this is not the first, and it's not the last. It's going to keep happening. Just fucking do it, man. Just do something. Oh, sorry. It's
okay.
Oh, the caucasity.
Agreed. Thanks for jumping in today. It's good to see your face again. We got you. Come back tomorrow, okay?
Love you, Steve.
Love you too, man. See you later. Take care.
Elbows up. Keep your stick on the ice, guys.
You got it, man. He's right. This reminds me of, and he mentioned it. First they came for the communists and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists. I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. If you think you're safe in Trump's America, you're not. You're not. You too can be murdered in cold blood. It could have been any of us. It could literally have been any of us behind the wheel of that car. No matter where you live, no matter what you look like, no matter what you do, no matter what kind of bumper stickers you have in your car, no matter what you stand for, no matter what your background is, doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You're right, Abe. It was all of us in that car. Good way to put it. Hey, Larry, how are you?
Hey, Steve, good morning. I'll be real quick. This is a thought that I had, and it's like ironic. These are the same people defending this murder are the ones that will use their vehicle to run over protesters in states like Florida and elsewhere. I just wanted to point the irony of that out.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
And I appreciate everything.
Thanks, Larry.
You say, man. I listen to you every morning.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, friend. Take care. See you later. He's right. I don't know. I'm angry. I internalize anger. Like it doesn't always. I wear my emotions outwardly, no doubt about it. But I internalize anger. It fuels me. It gives me a cause. It gives me a purpose. And I'll add it to everything else. I'll add it to everything else. And I want to address, I do believe, I don't think it was demonizing any member of any particular community. I think the 6-year-old does not have a dad or a mom anymore. I think those are the facts of the case. Whether orphaning is the appropriate term, it's irrelevant to me. He lost his mother. They lost their mother. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. They lost their mother. And their father passed away 2 years ago. To say that what we experience every single day in our country is not normal is the ultimate understatement. Because it's not. Right? It's just not normal. And I've said this so many times that we as a nation collectively have allowed this to happen. We as a nation collectively almost deserve it in a way. Because we have just sat in our little privileged spaces and wrapped ourselves in our blanket of entitlement collectively as Americans. Not showing up, not participating, not volunteering in our community, not supporting marginalized communities, talking a good game, blaming other people for your plight, being cranky because you have to wait a couple extra days for your Amazon delivery. This is who we are, right? We allowed this to happen because of our own apathy. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Yesterday when all of this was happening, I volunteer for a cancer support group because I'm disabled and can no longer work. So I volunteer for this little cancer support group, and I had my headphone in, and I heard about the shooting, or pew-pewing, I'm sorry, and then I immediately heard Christy Nome come on and go on with her bullshit. But one of the ladies there turned and said, well, is this real news or fake news? I almost lost my mind. It's like I'm listening to it right now. I'm watching a video of it right now. It's pretty real. But I don't think there's a line in the sand you can draw for these people.
I don't
that they won't cross.
I agree. Got a lot of background noise, Kim, but thank you for jumping in today. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day.
Right,
be safe out there. Bye. I think how do I want to say this? The wrong people with unlimited power who are driven by hatred, racism, bigotry is beyond just a threat to our system. It's a threat to humanity. Right? And because we're going to raid Brett. So our friend Brett has been streaming the trial of one of the officers in Uvalde that failed miserably, that contributed to the death of Brett's son, Uzi. And again, it's law enforcement. Protect and serve. Where is the accountability? So the ACAB movement is strong. It's because it's a system. It's a system that protects its own. Now, like we always talk about this wild concept about how it is all men. The reason that we say it's all men is because men, by and large, don't hold other men accountable. Similarly, in law enforcement doesn't hold each other accountable, by and large. It's the system. It's the system. So Brett has to sit there and be reminded of that day because law enforcement didn't do their job. Because law enforcement is unwilling to hold other members of law enforcement accountable. Where were the other officers? The other agents that were there that day, yesterday? Where were they? Why were they not detaining that person? If that person if the murderer, I'll call it what it is, if the murderer felt like he was justified in doing what he did, meaning that I've got law enforcement responsibilities over this civilian, then why didn't ICE, other agents there, do the exact same thing? Why didn't they hold him down? Why didn't they handcuff him? Why didn't they put him into custody? Instead, what do? They let him go. They let him go. They just let him leave so that the match was lit. Now we can spin the narrative because there's nobody here. That's why we say ACAB. Okay, we're going to go raid Brett. Now, this has been heavy today, and I don't know if Brett's the right spot for you, but at least swing on by and tell him that we love him and how much we care about him and why he is so important to us. But he is literally streaming the trial of one of the officers involved in the shooting that took his son's life in Uvalde, Texas. I think tomorrow, is tomorrow Friday? It is. I think tomorrow we will do a mental health check-in show. Normally we do our Are You Okay series on Facts After Dark. We're not going to do a Facts After Dark tomorrow night. Instead, tomorrow we're going to do Are You Okay for Free Speech Friday. Whatever's on your mind. So think about that. Come back tomorrow and join us. Thank you, mods, for everything today. You guys were absolutely amazing, more amazing than ever today, which is a high bar. Thank you, all of you, for engaging. We appreciate you all very, very much. Please, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please consider doing that. Please also consider subscribing to our Twitch channel. And if you're just finding us here, thank you for being here today. Go Ray Brett. We love you guys. This is why it's Brett Cross. Everybody, yeah, actually, would you guys mind posting that? Brett's TikTok in the chat. You can just search for Brett Cross. You can find him that way. Please take a moment for yourself today, just to kind of deep breath or whatever that might be, or a little woosah moment would be a great thing to do.